Hello and welcome to another Combos and Chill session, Dirty Talk Sessions. This is Dirty and this is my wife and co-host. She's a Phoenix.
Hi guys.
So today we have a very interesting guest on board. And wait a second, I completely forgot one thing, and that's the music, which
Just
I know always. It's like my signature.
Intro music.
That's my signature.
Yeah.
So today's guest, he started. I mean, it's so hard for me to put it in
I don't think that we can give a complete descriptive introduction.
Madman.
There's so many things.
Madman. That's it.
He's done and achieved.
He's like kind of like borderline scientist, borderline chemist. Like, you know, he's into chemistry, and his passion is for 3D printing.
Yeah, and amazing entrepreneur. And I don't know how many things do you want to say.
And the last thing that he is actually super good at, it's something that we all love, coffee.
Yes.
So,
oh my God, he's a brewmaster.
Anyway, we're gonna give you a tiny introduction about it. He owns a cafe called Creative Brew
DXP.
in Dubai. It's
You
Creative
can
Brew.
see. You can see on Instagram.
On you guys can go and check it out at Creative Brew DXP on IG. It's basically a 3D printing shop. While you're getting your model done for you, you can get your coffee, which they're fucking coffees, Jesus Christ.
And this was the brainchild of this amazing person. So.
Exactly. So without any further ado, let's jump in with our guest, Mo. Welcome to the session of Dirty Talk. How you been, brother?
Hi Mo, how are you?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Not bad, man.
good.
Not bad. How's things with you?
How was your day
Thank
so far?
you very much. All is good. All is good, as always.
Yeah.
Printing away.
Already we have a new
We have a
follower.
new follower, Fragilitis.
Fragilitis. Sorry if we're butchering your name.
I don't know. We never get the follower names right.
So we want to give a shout out to the guys in the chat, Bundlehead and Vix.
Hi.
Vix, Bundlehead, and whoever is still watching us, this is our guest, Mo, the owner of Creative Brew DXB and a 3D printing, like that whole 3D printing thing.
I think it's safe to say Godfather.
Yeah. So just let's just let him talk. Mo, please introduce yourself with the audience.
Thank you very much. First thing, thank you guys for having me on.
Oh man, it's always a pleasure.
I met you guys, and I really love the concept of you guys starting a podcast featuring people in the country that are doing, out of the box stuff.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
As you said, this is a first thing and foremost. It's a place of creativity, a place where you can come and sit and think of a future product or a future idea you want to have. And our job here is to help you basically bring it into fruition, if you want to think about it that way. With the help of
so cool.
different technologies like 3D printing, like even market research, even to the extent where we take some of the guys that initially started with us 3D printing and we took them into the phase of mass production, which is injection molding and all of that.
Exactly.
Oh, man. I mean, he's already starting explaining. So imagine, I mean, we did.
To be honest, I don't think I have to do much. I just have to ask Mo, say one line. And
just like a question, one Mo.
It's his show now.
because we were chilling at his place at the cafe on Friday.
Yeah.
And
it was a very soothing
4 hours of information. The good thing about Mo is that he sells the 3D printers, but it comes with the disclaimer as in like you need to take a 1 hour class with him so he can understand what are you buying this shit for,
So that's the reasoning. You see, that's where I'm trying to change the idea of what a 3D printer is, because unfortunately it's being sold as an appliance. And the difference between an appliance and a tool is that an appliance can only do one function and has to do it well. But the problem with 3D printers, they're tools, so they're like a drill or like a cutting knife or something. You have to be good at it, not just press a button and go away.
Yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's what I'm saying. Like they sell it as an appliance. I want to change that mentality and say, okay, guys, I'm going to give you this cool technology that you can do a lot of stuff with, but you got to come and you got to prove that you know how to use it. So the class is free of charge. We just want to make sure that the person that's going to take it really benefits from it.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I wanted to actually bring you on the show, because there's so many misconceptions about this whole industry, the product itself, the people who are using it, and I feel even the end products, the figures and the way they are made, everything. It's all not like what you would imagine or what you read on Google or anywhere else.
Yeah, basically, it's your brainchild. Whatever you think of.
Yeah, but the information that is available and what he told us in that whole descriptive 4 hours that we were sitting with him, other than talking about the universe,
which we're gonna dabble into as well.
Yeah. So I just want to, before we start, we just want to say hi to everyone in the comments.
Yeah, they're already using the emote.
Who is our moderator, who she controls our chat to make sure
Bundlehead is also
no shenanigans going on.
Yeah, Bundlehead as well as a moderator.
Bundlehead, Salam, how are you? By the way, Bundlehead, we really talked about you extensively with Mo the other day, because you have dabbled with 3D printing before. Sorry, I'm fumbling again. That's my job on the show. But I am Bullet is here. Woot woot.
Yeah, that's our new emote, guys.
Yeah.
I really want you guys to go crazy with
Thank
it.
you for using it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for using it. And again, thank you very much for the people that are watching us. And let's get back to the guest. And what is the question?
Okay, so I just wanted.
Number uno. Numbre uno.
So I feel that I want to make everyone understand, and myself also understand for life, like what do you think is the true meaning of 3D printing? Because you said that what is the definition on the interwebs is not true, so like according to you, how would you like to define it?
So if you want to think about it in this way, the term 3D printing is a term that has been put commercially to, like, let's put it this way, to simplify the understanding of what this technology is. But truthfully, should be known as additive manufacturing, because we're actually adding material, not subtracting like we used to do with CNC machines, right?
Exactly.
So it makes me laugh sometimes when I say it myself and say, okay, this is a 3D printer. Although I know for a fact this is not a 3D printer. It's just a machine that layers, different material on top of each other until it creates this three-dimensional object, basically.
So the end result is 3D basically.
So yeah, exactly. So I have written a paper before about it that if you are gonna actually 3D print, using the technology, this is the way of doing it. So it basically doesn't. So if you need to 3D print, the print head, if you want to think about it, which is kind of like a nozzle, and it deposits material, basically, and then and this type of technology that we have now, what it does, it prints in layers. So it continuously prints one layer and then moves up. So essentially, it's printing in the Z and Y axes. All right.
Yeah.
But to truly call it a 3D printer, we have to be able to print in the X, Y, and Z
exactly.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
No, simultaneously, because a lot of people say, well, we are printing in the Z axis because we're shifting one plane up, but that's not true, because in order for it to be a three-dimensional moving machine, it has to be actually moving, a step up simultaneously with the Y and X.
So I just want to make the viewers understand about the axis, because I read this man's thesis and oh my god, it blew my mind. So x-axis and y-axis people understand by graphs, so it's like straight line and horizontal, and z-axis is basically from bottom to top. So that's what it is. Yeah, length, exactly, length of the thing. So it goes from bottom to top. Okay, the x-axis and the y-axis. So like it's like that.
So basically mathematics.
Yeah, I understand this because I used to love making graphs. So I actually understood what he was writing in the thesis. But please go ahead. Sorry to cut you off, but I wanted to make sure I was making them understand what it means.
No, that's okay. Because actually, one big mistake I've done is made my whole office glass, so everybody walking in and out would see me, and
no worries. No worries.
It's all good,
by the way, guys, if you
sorry
ever
if we get
no, that's okay. That's okay. By the way, guys, if you ever visit Creative Brew, the cafe that is
it's
actually
beautiful.
having this whole glass part that Mo is sitting in, it has 3D printers on both sides, and they are constantly printing something or the other. Like the other day, we went, there were chess pieces being printed for a client, and there was a Darth Vader, and there were so many other like cool stuff that was just like
toys
exhibited.
And we're dog friendly.
Oh yes, they are dog.
I forgot.
Where's Miles, man?
God,
Where's
Miles is sleeping here.
So
he's
okay.
There
There's also D. Hi, Miles. Oh, he's such a cutie.
This is Miles. He's our
hey,
security
Miles.
officer.
Hi. Oh, yeah, he's wearing a security jacket.
And
Exactly.
Mr. D is sleeping over there.
Yeah,
so.
Oh, yeah. D is a much
He's
older.
a very good boy.
Yeah. They're really well behaved and really adorable.
And Bundle It is saying Z-axis is depth axis.
Oh, okay, there you go. So I was just explaining in like layman terms, but like that's better. Oh, exactly. So I mean that's a very good like basis to start with.
For me, it's like it looks simple. Like you give the program. Basically, you pay Mo and get the program done, and you tell him what you want, he does it.
Yeah.
But the way he needs to plan this thing, the way he needs to write it, to do the whole thing.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted him to also like make us understand, like, because there's so much backstory behind the actual production of the product, because there's softwares to choose from, there is machines to choose from, the materials to choose from. So I guess how would you like define the basis of each like usage wise?
So basically I'll walk you through first thing the regular process of how to bring a idea into a 3D print, right? So the simplified version is you would design it on one software called the CAD, okay, and then you would slice it in another software, okay, which is called a slicer.
Yeah.
And then that slicer's job is to take that CAD drawing and turning it into something we call G code that the machine understands.
Yeah.
So technically, the machine doesn't know the entire object while it's printing, but what it understands is lines of code. So it tells it go 3 degrees to the right, 3 degrees to the X or Y or Z. Then, and basically it continuously moves this head around and around and around until it starts creating this object.
So people,
and actually there is, sorry to interrupt you, there is one more axis that we don't tend to think about, which is the material being pushed in. So the material being pushed in is also simultaneously coordinated between the X and Y and Z axes.
Okay.
So that one you could call it the E or what we usually know it in G code as the A axis.
Okay.
So auxiliary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for people in the comments, CAD stands for computer aided design. So basically it's used as a software to like just program the basic, like, okay, I want this much, like an angle or an inclination or
basically
something.
all the measurements, that it's all in details. By the way, guys, again, thank you very much for joining us for this session. If you have any question for Mo,
please drop it in the comments.
Drop it in the comment section. I'm sure Mo will be more than happy to answer because he's a very informative person. Like,
oh my God.
I think I gotta contact him.
If you give your mind to him, he's like, come here. Come here. I will fill it up for you. Come here.
We continuously say we learn every day, as I do every day.
Exactly.
I mean, even the moment I say I know everything, I think that's the day I say I should declare that I absolutely know nothing.
Because when he was
so we continuously learn every day
exactly.
from every.
When he was mentioning that the machine is going like round and round and everything and starts layering from the inside and depth. Dude, I was watching that machine doing it while they were printing the chess pieces. Yeah. It's exactly the way he was saying it. It goes line to line, and you were busy talking to Mo, so I didn't interrupt. I was taking a video, and it's like line to line, like very intricate, very.
Yeah, but I guess that there is one thing that comes out in these objects is you can see those layers, which you were mentioning us in depth, that sometimes that, there is finessing to be done afterwards.
Yeah, okay, so it really depends. If it is, as we say, traditional 3D printing, which is fused, material together, that's where you would see the lines usually. So this is normally printed with types of polymers or plastics, as we say, and some type of rubbers. So the thing is, the action of printing is, as you said, it's kind of like threads. So if you want to think about it as each finger is a line, that little indent gap between them, that's what we see as artifacts in the machine or the print. Yeah. But obviously this is again something we control. So if it's going to take, let's say, an hour to print something, this size, it would have much thicker lines because it would be depositing much wider lines. But
exactly.
If we put it, let's say, half of that size or quarter of that size, the same object would take about 4 hours to print because you just have the steps up. Yeah. You see, that's when we say the step up a Z is basically the lines, like how thick is the lines being laid over.
Yeah, and I remember that we were watching the bases of the chess pieces being made. It was already past 36 minutes or something. So like even something small was taking so long. Ooh,
we have a new follower.
Yes and no. You saw it when it started printing.
Yeah,
so
okay.
What we usually do to have what we call proper bed adhesion. That
this
means
I
we
know.
Eliminate.
Yes.
So what we eliminate basically failures. What we tend to do is we slow down the first couple of layers. Yeah. To basically make sure that they're stuck and they're properly adhered to the
printer.
Platform.
Yeah.
And then by layer 6 or 7, where that bottom layer has, adhered and caught properly,
Yes.
the print head starts actually speeding up faster and faster.
And I guess I also read in your thesis that it takes time even for the nozzle and everything to get heated up, even the bed of the printer, I think.
Yes, of course, yeah, because you need to bring it up to temperature.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's say in a basic material, which is something we call PLA, which is actually, funny enough, made out of cornstarch. It's not even a petrochemical material.
Okay.
And it's biodegradable as well. That's the beautiful thing about it. That type of material, usually we print it at about 60 degrees heated beds, and about 210 to 212, depending on the room temperature on the nozzle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a question in the comments. So what's the polygon count on?
First of all, Bundlehead, sorry about that. I want to welcome our new followers, Zabzania.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the follow. It means the world to us. And thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome, Zabzania. You have enrolled for just absolute shenanigans always.
Yeah.
So.
Welcome to the Tomato Club. We're going to call everyone, all the followers, Tomato Club.
Yeah, exactly.
So Bundleheads is saying, so what's the polygon count on the 3D model good enough for printing?
It depends on how sharp you want. So the polygons is usually how sharp a model would look. That's basically what it is. It's not based on we can actually, funny enough, we do print some models like the rabbits. We print it in very sharp polygons.
Oh, that's rabbit that I love.
That is so rad.
So this is what we call the origami rabbit, and if you can see here, we have one plane, two planes, and each one is actually a polygon. And then obviously, if you want to think about it as, if you want to make it truly look like an actual rabbit, that would have many polygons around.
Yeah.
Exactly. By
so
the
that's what it is.
Yeah.
But there isn't a standard to what is good enough to print.
Exactly.
Basically, you just have to abide by the rules of edges and how they are extended and this, and then again we also tend to orient the object depending on what's the best position to print it.
Yeah.
So
Bullet already
object,
wants a black one of that.
By the way, yeah, and coincidentally there is a black one.
Yeah, there
I
is
am
a
Bullet.
black
one. A black one
There
of
you
those.
go. Your wishes are coming true.
Yeah, Bullet. And
We
Vix
have
is
a black
saying,
one of those.
yeah, Vix is saying, yo, that's so cool. Exactly.
See?
That's the first thing I saw when I entered the shop, and it was so amazing.
There's so many more designed, pieces there that are just so rad that you just want to take home.
I love it.
Yeah, so
Even they serve their coffee on the 3D printed trays, yeah?
Those even the trays are 3D
even the
printed.
trays are
Exactly.
3D printed.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I try to use as much as 3D printed objects around the shop, not only as an aesthetic, but truly to inspire people that walk in and think, oh, you know what? This can be done this way. And that was the main idea of using 3D printed objects around the store. Technically, if you want to think about it, it is more expensive for me 3D printed tray rather than just go buy one.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
3D printing helps you to basically prototype. So it basically helps you to see the product before you take it to market, before you start manufacturing it. That's what 3D printing gaps the bridge. That's the bridge that, that's the gap, which we need to bridge with, if you think about it, I was explaining to you guys, let's say, I'm just taking a random object off the shelves, but let's say you wanted to make a wheel hub and a rubber tire from the outside diameter for, let's say, an RC car or for whatever it may be, right? For a machine that uses rollers. What we would have done before, just to get this shape or this pattern or the load or whatever, we would have needed to get a mold for the outer part and a mold for the inner part.
Right.
And these ones, and the cheapest place to manufacture, it would have been a minimum of $5,000 to $10,000, and that is like
per piece.
Really basically the mold. So the
mold
is
to make the pieces.
To make the injection mold. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So this is really what the idea of this place is, to try to explain to people this process. And you will be surprised, even people that had no idea about 3D printing or 3D manufacturing or all that, they come back to me, weeks later or months later, and they say, you know what? I got this idea, and I never thought that I could use 3D printing to do that, and I love it. I love it because that opened the mind to them that to think that, you know what, I could be doing this, and it's going to benefit me to see the project or the product I want to be making.
Exactly.
You
Like,
know?
for example, even the trays that you've designed, they're not just aesthetically just for the looks, you know, they're also functional. So functionality is
Yes.
also the thing.
Yes.
So it's not
Yes.
necessary. You might design something for the house like as a showpiece. It's something that you can use on a daily basis. You know.
Exactly, yeah.
So
we designed some of the trays with the placement of the bottom of the cup. So when the baristas or whoever is taking them to serve, there's a much higher chance of much less chance for them to slip because of the indents
The
that
grip.
we 3D
The
printed
grip.
into place.
Exactly.
Basically like a grip.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So something like that, yeah, true. We cannot find in the market. You know, you will find trays with, you know, a rubber, top.
Mm-hmm.
But that again, you know, that is the standard. We thought outside the box for a change because our cups are standard and they'll always be standard.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Bundle It is saying, so if I bring a model to 3D print, what is the prices in your store?
All right. So this is one thing what we did here. This place specifically, we cater to startup businesses and students. So our prices are very, 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 very affordable. So if you want to think about it, let's say this object, if we had to print it for you for like 50 dirhams, in the next cheapest place here in the country, it would cost you a minimum of like 500-600 dirhams.
Mm-hmm.
It is that much of a gap, and there is a lot of reasons behind that, and there's a lot of reasons because I get these questions like, how come you're not that expensive when it comes to 3D printing?
Exactly.
How come is why? What's the reason? Unfortunately, the reason is people that started 3D printing companies here, they haven't started on a good, let's say, note, because they thought that it's a niche market and, you know, they can milk it as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So this is one aspect of them. Mm-hmm. And the other aspect, unfortunately, it's like you said, they took misinformation from whatever is online.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
And they ran with it.
Yeah.
And the problem with that, whatever is online, they tell you, okay, this machine does this machine does that, but they don't explain to you how you can be profitable if you want to think.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So like this type of finishing with this type of, you know, materials, let's say, you know, rubber and plastic, you know, this type of machines, usually you could get a massive machine that costs upwards of $50,000-$60,000. Okay, that has a built area, you know, let's say 30 by 30, okay, or even 40 by 40. And, you know, the difference is that machine does a specific job and our machines does a different specific job, but they both give you the same result if you want to think about it in that way. What I mean by that, the bigger machines are made purposely to be faster. So who would buy that type of machine? People and offices that need fast, rapid prototyping. So instead of this taking, you know, 3-4 hours to print, they could print it in 1 hour. But the finishing, the quality, the type of material, to an extent, the type of material is practically the same. So when you tell somebody, especially in the Middle East, you know, they think more expensive means more better.
More better, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
Which is absolutely not true.
It's like the stamp of better quality.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is, it's ridiculous because I'm sorry, like, you know, at the end of the day, you need the product, not what the machine is.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
So what these companies tend to do is go buy 5 or 6 massive machines for, you know, $50,000 that they need a lot of servers and a lot of technicalities and a lot of, you know, high-end proprietary material for those machines, you know, and they want to do jobs like these for students, for, you know, for small businesses. But that doesn't work. That doesn't work because it's going to get hideously expensive for someone.
Yeah,
exactly.
So during student season, like when they have their projects and stuff, when I start, sorry about that.
It's fine, man.
That's okay. That's
The
okay.
compressor went off. I forgot to turn it off.
No, that's okay. That's
It's
okay.
all
So,
fine.
and can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, we can hear you. It's good that we're getting the natural ambient
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like-
workshop.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah,
it's gonna go off in a second.
Natural habitat.
So as I was saying, like during student season, I've heard stories of where, a student came in last minute saying, hey, I really need this to be, printed. And, I'm sorry that I came like this time and this time, but I gave it to company and I paid them like some ridiculous amounts. Like, I'm not even joking, like 15, 20,000 dirhams.
Wow.
You know,
For
for
one
a
piece.
small- Yeah, for a small house maquette, and I'm telling them,
Maquettes, yeah.
what is this for? Like what are you? Why are you using that? Like that company or material for this project? And they said, well, that's the only 3D printing company that we came across here, and we thought they're all the same, right?
Oh
Because
my
people
God.
understand that 3D printing is a specific-
Expensive, yeah.
Yeah,
That whole.
because they already
Exactly.
have that preconception in their mind.
Exactly. So
But
this.
the funny,
Sorry.
sorry.
Please continue.
So the funny part is when when we put it through our systems and we slice that model for her and everything, and we put it on the bed for that specific size that she wants, and we're like, yeah, so that comes up to about 200 dirhams, and she's like,
as he
what do you
said,
do?
the whole price gap is massive.
insane,
It's
yeah.
So
insane.
that's what I'm saying. Like, and I will explain to you why. Because that company could also argue and say, well, the material is expensive. Yeah, the material is expensive, but that material should not be used for such projects to start with. You get what I mean? Like it's like basically saying, I'm going to use metal reusable cups. That's just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
you know how expensive the coffee would be?
Yeah,
You get
exactly.
what I mean? Like if I make basically disposable metal cups, CNC. So yeah, it is made of aluminum, but that is not, the best material to use for that purpose. So same thing with the maquettes, with the students, when
And
the material is like, 400 or 500 dirhams per gram,
Yeah.
wow.
obviously the project is going to come out to that much. And the thing is, these companies here don't really tell them that, hey, there is a better option, or hey, we can do it in this way.
Yeah. In a
Because
more,
they
yeah.
don't know, because they really don't know. All they know is their machine, and that their machine uses this type of material, and we calculate it that way.
And they know
That's
that
all
then
they
they
know.
know that 3D printing is really, expensive. So
Exactly.
they just
Exactly.
jump up
So
the
they
prices.
play on that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
earlier you had mentioned, because that was one of my questions here. Coincidentally, you mentioned the niche market here. So why do you think that even though 3D printing has been existing for so long, almost like decades, and it's still, so rare here, considering
Yeah.
like.
That goes back to what I originally said, that it is very rare here because not a lot of people get to interact with it. If you want to go to somewhere and buy a machine, even if it is like, you can go to these Chinese websites and go buy a machine from AliExpress, right? And it would cost you, let's say, 1,200 dirhams shipped to Dubai. Not a lot of people know these websites. Not a lot of people, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised of actually
know.
how many people want to do 3D printing and want to do these things, but don't know these websites. But then you go to a company here that sells the exact same machine, but they're mocking it up at 6,000-7,000 dirhams.
That's insane.
So automatically you're isolating a big chunk of the people. That means if you don't have the money, you can't afford this technology, which is
Exactly.
extremely wrong, because today I can build you a complete 3D printer. Forget the size, forget the print quality, we're saying at least 3D print a model. I can guarantee you I can build it below 200 dirhams.
Wow.
So
That is
The
That's-
whole printer, you mean?
the whole printer from different parts that they can find online. I can build a printer which is 200 dirhams, easy.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is people who are doing that because they can't achieve a specific price that like they can't afford it basically. And that's the thing. Again, it is niche in this country because nobody's being given a chance.
Exactly.
Now, funny enough, do you know who was one of my biggest customers for printing? So we have two types of customers, right? So we have the people that buy the printers and, we consult them to do the prints and everything. And we have the type of people that want to just make the product with us and continuously make it. So, so they don't want to deal with the printing. They don't want to deal with the modeling. They don't want to deal with anything. They just want the end product.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you guess is my biggest client right now?
Is the guy who wants to
who's the clients? Who do you think what's the type of clients?
The type of I would go with the people who they want to have like a contract with you. You do the printing for them.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
you mean
like what kind of businesses? Like
what kind of businesses?
Small business. You'll be very surprised.
Like toys. Okay, let me guess. Toys?
No. So basically, it's people who are doing pastries at home. So we make a lot of cookie cutters for them, cake toppers, all of these things. So that's the thing. These are people in the past. They wouldn't have thought about it. They wouldn't have, had access to it. She wouldn't, the lady wouldn't have come in here and thought, you know what? I can make a custom cookie cutter in less than an hour. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And this really bridged a big gap between them and what we're doing, And this is a very, very, very good example, a prime example actually, for how this technology can be used.
I mean, that's the thing. Like with Mo, you need to struck him with the creativity first.
Yeah.
Then he will, you have him at your mercy. You can talk to him. And by the way, just going back to the comments. Bundle is saying if you have
filaments,
from plastic bottles used for 3D printing, that would be awesome. It would have it would bring 3D costs down. And he's saying
we are doing that actually. So unfortunately, because did I show you before the sample of the dogs that we have with the bottle caps? So we use them from Masafi bottles and different Coke bottles and this. And that's why we have them in blue, red, and green.
Oh, okay.
For now, because those are the available bottles, right?
Nice.
Bottle caps, actually.
Caps.
So the difference is we can use the bottle caps for recycling to be used in 3D printers. But unfortunately, the bottles themselves, the big plastic part, we cannot. And the reasoning behind it is because it's been put under a lot of thermal pressure and stress. And
already.
It kind of... what people don't tend to understand about recycling, that plastics in general have a very fast decaying cycle when it comes to heat. So the more you heat plastic, the faster it decays. So in reality, those plastic bottles that we see, the clear ones, those have to be heated to about 350 degrees before being pushed into what we call a slug. And then it's actually blown. So the bottle is actually blown into a mold. And that's how that bottle is created. So it's always under high pressure. But the bottle caps, on the other hand, they're molded in less heat and temperature because that's using actually cold injection molds.
Okay.
So it's much easier to recycle the tops rather than the bottle itself. And even with the tops, we can only put around 15 to 20% of the bottle cap in the mixture. So we need fresh material and the bottle caps together. That's realistically what it is. So plastics in general, we only are able to, as of now, with the technology we have, with the way we're producing the plastic, we can only recycle about 10 to 15 or 20% of whatever waste we have.
But that's still cool. I mean,
it's very,
environment friendly and it's still innovative. So
it is. I mean, look, the cool thing about 3D printing, on the other hand, because actually, even though it's melting the plastic, we're not putting it into this high temperature where it is basically decaying, right? So the 3D printing material, the waste we have, sometimes we have to print support. So it's kind of like if you have an indent here, we would try to print a support to hold the top layer being printed. And that support, unfortunately, is taken and thrown away. And that is basically was considered waste. But because it's 3D printed material, I can recycle about 70% of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so 70% of the wasted material we recycle. So 70% with 30% virgin material. And then, basically we get a recycled type of
That's a
of
crazy
PLA
process.
or
That is
ABS or
amazing.
whatever.
You
But
need
it won't print. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I said, but then again, it won't print at the quality of a virgin material,
yeah.
which we don't really care sometimes, because sometimes we're doing just fast prototypes, so we're really not looking at the finishing rather than the object or size or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I know this question is like, it's very straightforward. It depends on the measures, and okay, it depends on the measurement of the object that you want to print, the whole period of the process, yeah? Like, for example, let's say, okay, what was the longest time you spent on a 3D printer?
Like continuous printing,
Like one object.
one object continuous printing,
Yeah.
about 3 weeks.
The machine was on for 3 weeks.
Yeah, actually, our machines are never off here. Even the ones the small ones you see, they're never off. We never turn them off. So technically, on one of the machines here, we have clocked around 10,000 hours.
Wow.
Are these meant to be used this way?
Of course, yes. The
That is awesome.
good thing about 3D printers is that the let's say the print cycle should always be calculated that it could be completed under the structure that we built. So no screws, no nuts, no nothing have to come loose, or let's say the nozzle and the head and all of that can take that temperature continuously. So yes.
So
That's
I wanted to
crazy.
actually, I wanted you to bust a myth for us, because the other time when we had the 3D printing episode, bust a myth. So we were discussing one of the cons for. Oh, that's D. That's D.
Yeah, he just
Hi,
woke
D.
up.
Eddie.
He's looking at the motorbikes that just pulled in.
Such a chill dude. So
Sorry, you were saying.
yeah. So I was saying that because you had mentioned. Oh my God, my goldfish
No,
memory.
the last session you said we talked
yeah.
about.
Let's
Because you had mentioned, what was my point?
Okay,
God.
now I'm losing it as well.
Oh my God, what was I saying before?
You said last session
Say
you
about
mentioned
busting,
something that it's one of the pros and the cons.
Oh yeah, that cons.
God
Sorry,
damn it, my brain still works.
That's why I'm married to you, so you can, remind
This is
me.
all the almond my mom gave me when I was a kid is working out.
So I was saying that the cons for 3D printing, I was saying it was mass production, but then when I spoke to you, you said no. That's
Yep.
actually false, because I read garbage information from Google, and
That's
you
true.
said that actually it is possible to mass produce, because you can do it, that you can program it in such a way it can do multiple pieces at one time, but
So-
layer by layer.
Yes. So no, the way we print is quite different than how most people print. So most people tend to print all the objects at the same time. So you're printing in a wide area, compact. We call them nested. So if you would think about it, so the parts would be this close together, and they would be printed all at once. The problem is with that if one fails, technically the whole print will be will
yeah,
fail.
that's
So
why
we
they
don't
do it,
tend to
yeah.
do that. What we tend to do, if you think about it, we tend to put one here and one down here, right? And then print them sequentially, which means we print one to completion, and then that print head moves again and prints another one to completion, third one, fourth one, and then continues that cycle back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Okay.
So that's one way of doing it, and that's one way of actually cutting costs, right? And that's how we can mass produce. But the biggest one by far is one that I actually teach here to people that are trying to get into 3D printing manufacturing. Is why would I 3D print this for 50 dirhams if I can, injection mold it for 2-3 dirhams? So that's the question I will always ask. Why should I 3D print this for 50 dirhams and I can injection mold this for 2 dirhams? And there's a very simple answer to that. If you are only aiming to produce, let's say, around 100, 200, 300 pieces from this, because your machine requires this type of bracket or part or component, then yeah, it's better to 3D print it. And I will give you the reasoning why. If it's injection molded, that means you can at least need to start producing it in the thousands, so 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 pieces at the time. And the reason behind that yeah, it is cheaper to injection mold it, but how much is the mold to do it? You see?
Exactly.
So even before you start, you're already paying $5,000 to $10,000 for one part in a mold. And this, you don't. And in this, you have a better chance if you produce it and then tend to wanting to change the part, you know, instead of waiting until the next variation of the product to change the whole thing. Now you can actually change the part and not spend as much on the long term. So it's basically, this is your equation. Am I spending more for, you know, an injection mold that I'm going to be producing hundreds of thousands of these parts for 2 dirhams, or am I going to print a couple of hundred for 50 dirhams, which is, you know, essentially what I should be doing. So imagine I only needed 200 of these, you know, paying the mold and all of that, I'm already at a loss. You get what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
That's actually like, you know, I love his strategy. Even like he actually questioned the buyer, like, why the hell you're buying this?
Yeah,
And
because I feel that he's more interested in his client base, like, you know,
what is the end result that they're looking for?
Because I noticed that when Mo said, even when he's selling the printer, he's gonna give the person an hour worth of training to sit down and make him understand that, okay, this is how you use it, this is what you don't do. Or imagine the time he's investing in making the person even understand.
Exactly.
So contrary to what you said about other 3D printing companies, they don't even give. They're like, okay, this is the manual. Go figure it out. You know.
Exactly. They just throw the manual in your face and say, YouTube a couple of channels and you will figure it out.
Exactly.
The problem with that, the problem with that, they understand how the machine works, but they don't understand that they're beginners that are buying these machines, right? And imagine, you know, you want to get into a new hobby or a new tool or whatever it is. How frustrated would you be that every time you're trying to start the printer, it fails on you?
Exactly. Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah. Like I was considering to, you know, maybe in future I can get one to make my art as showpieces. So imagine if I have to go through YouTube to understand how to create that. Instead, I can get direct tutorial from the person who is making them.
He said there is switching on failures as well. Like, you know, it fails sometimes too.
Yeah. So there is, but that's the thing, you see. So sometimes there's failures for absolutely no reason. Maybe there's dust particles, or we forgot to clean the bed, or, you know, whatever it is. And that is a professional speaking. Imagine a person who's a beginner and they're just continuously and by the way, in a lot of printers, not ours, in a lot of printers, I've looked at their manuals. Nowhere does it mention that the surface of the bed should always be clean. You know?
Wow, such a small detail.
And with what type of material as well. You know, this is funny enough, because a while back a company came out with this, you know, revolutionary, you know, bed surface for the printer. Okay, and you know, they started selling their printers. Their bed surface was amazing. Everything was good, but then all of a sudden, people's beds started getting damaged. Wow. Why is it started getting damaged? Because they were using the wrong chemical. So they were trying to use like window cleaner or things like we used to use, you know, most commonly we use, you know, isopropyl alcohol. So, you know, to try to clean the beds. But that surface, as good as it was and as good as the company was, they just didn't put that small disclaimer saying, hey, by the way, don't clean it with this product.
Yeah.
You see? And guess what? The company just shut down after that because they couldn't use it. Yeah, exactly. Wow. Because nobody trusted them anymore. Nobody wanted to work with them anymore. And that was the major problem with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I feel, that even on internet, there's not much, like on Google or anywhere, much information about.
You heard Mo that day. We told him we know about the whole. Like the whole founder of 3D printing. He's like the guy just died off after this.
Exactly. And I there was a very interesting term you used, was hobbyist versus professionals in releasing information. So could you just touch up on that? Yeah.
Just Mo, before you start, hold to your thought. Bundle It is saying, was that company called Molvino Fine Wine and Spirits?
That's a big ass name.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Bundle It. Okay, carry on. No.
Yeah. So
Should
So
I
as
repeat?
I was saying,
Okay.
the professional versus the hobbyist,
Exactly.
information out there. So, kudos to the hobbyists. I mean, there is actually, you'll be very surprised on how many hobbyists I can call that they're 100 times better than the professionals. They know their shit way better than the professionals. But unfortunately, with YouTube, open channels, a lot of these things, especially with technology that is not much known about,
Exactly.
that you don't come across every day. No matter what someone says, it could come across as, this is undisputed truth.
Exactly.
Just because it's been said through a popular channel or whatever. I could be sitting here and bullshitting everything and nobody would know the difference. That's the reality of how information is being relayed in general. Now, the difference is a lot of people come to me and say, but why can't I make this in full color? They expect to come and the print would be in full color. They don't understand the concept of 3D printing. I mean, and then they say, hey, but we saw it. We know that there's 3D printers that do multiple colors, True, there are 3D printers that do multiple color, but there is a, as we said, a catch, right?
Yeah.
Is it more expensive? Is it a brittle material? Because most of these printers, what they do is they tend to print either out of paper that is actually Xeroxed on, believe it or not, and then cut out and glued. So the machine does all of that. So it prints out the outline layer with a Xerox machine and then goes with a glue, and then it cuts the outline, and then that's what makes the first layer.
Okay.
And then builds it on top of each other until you get this three-dimensional object that is full color. Okay.
Wow.
But obviously, with that technology, it is made out of paper. It's very brittle. It is not usable. You understand? So you can't really use it as a wheel or as whatever. Maybe you can use it just as a show and tell model for, let's say, organs or dissections or whatever. Yeah, it's a very good technology for that. But then again, someone might come in here and say, hey, I want my small model in super full color, but I want it to move and this and that. I mean, that's the problem. And most of that information comes along because of what they see randomly online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but technically.
Yeah, because so many articles I read, even on Chuck Hull and everything, it was not even precise, or it was not accurate enough, or it was not even like, I was trying to understand the pros and cons of the industry. Nothing was like giving me enough information to understand.
So this is what I say when because we do teach lessons as well here about 3D printing.
Oh, that's awesome. So
a lot of the students ask me, or people that come along here, we know that this is a brand new technology. The funny part is 3D printing has been with us since the 50s, by the way. So the concept of 3D printing has been, around since the 50s, since the conception of the computer, So the biggest change was, why did we get this boom in 3D printing since 2010? That's basically when the first commercial home use desktop 3D printers that you could buy came along. The reason why, there was this company called Stratus. The Stratus, what they did is they held this patent for the longest time because they were the proprietaries for that type of additive manufacture. All right, and they held to that until the actual licensing expired. Once that expired, we saw this boom. So we saw this access to this information, G codes and this and that with a lot of companies. And obviously, way before 2010, I was building 3D printers at home.
That's what shocked me also. Like he was saying, this was an experimentation since ages, but it only became popular or even thought of being used as a functionality kind of tool just recently, you know? Yeah.
And a lot of people ask, people even used to ask me, like, how are, I don't understand. How are you building the 3D printer? Well, it's very simple. It was, back in the day, it was more like a glue gun head, attached to strings of material that we used to melt and extrude through a pipe, so it was very crude, basically. But what we used is machinery that was already available, which are basically CNCs. So, CNCs usually do the cutting job. So imagine you remove that cutting head and putting in a head, which is basically the glue gun, that actually adds material. And that's what basically a 3D printer was. Obviously, there was no assisted programs, there was no slicers, so we had to do everything manually. So we had to do everything manually, and it used to be through, done through the same software that, to make the machine understand that it's, it still thinks it's cutting, but what it's truly doing is adding material.
Layers.
So it's basically like that. Is like that water jet cutter. The one that they
basically
use.
All of these are CNC machines. Water
CNC.
jet, 6-axis cutting machines, laser cutters,
sandblasters,
engravers. No, sandblasters is different.
Isn't it the one that cuts things with like high air and sand?
High pressure? No, that's water jet. That's water jet.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. Sorry, my bad. I thought there was one with sand.
It is. It is.
Saying it's different.
It is with sand.
Oh, okay.
But it is water and sand. That's what creates that pressure and the head. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my bad.
We have technologies called EDMs, which actually cut with electricity. So this is where we find those extremely fine, detailed, precision cuts. And Japan had those since the early 70s.
Wow.
They were cutting these tiny nozzles into like metal blocks, titanium blocks, and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just before going to the next question, I just want to say Saram's dropped by. Saram is his very old friend, so
he's a good friend of ours.
Just wanted to say
Thanks
hi back. How's everything? How's Maria?
Thanks a lot for dropping by.
Greece?
No, he's back.
He's back?
Yeah, he's back in.
No wonder he's dropped by the stream. Now free time, for us.
Yeah, he's saying he got a few minutes just to jump here for. Again, man, thanks a lot for jumping in
and saying hi.
Thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you, Saram.
Thanks a lot, brother.
We missed you.
But again, guys, thank you very much for still sticking around.
And if you have any other questions, please keep asking, because I have an interesting one, because I don't know if anyone's asked you this. What is the most unique and what is the most absurd thing someone has asked you to print? This was in my mind since the day I met you. I was like, I have to ask this question to the guy.
By the way, you guys gave a lot of gold content when you guys met.
Very interesting requests, if you can think about it that way.
Yeah, but I want to know the most unique one and the most absurd one.
So uniqueness, I would say this guy that came in, to the shop and said, "Hey, listen, I really have this amazing idea that I'm, putting together this product that is made out of completely 3D printing, right?" And I explained to him, what is it? So he's like, I want to mix the use of 3D printers with the traditional crafts of the rosaries. The rosaries for
Christian people use it for praying.
No, not the Christian one.
Tasbih.
The Islamic one.
Yeah.
Islamic one. Okay.
Islamic one.
Okay.
So I was explaining I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait a second. If you're going to 3D print it, it's going to be more expensive than just buying the
stones and stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so unique, and I will explain to you. This is why I love this job. This is why I love what I do. And this is how I explain to you, I learn something every day, right? The guy told me one thing. He said, that's true. There's a lot of material out there. There's a lot of people that love, these unique stones and whatnot, and, plastics that glow and glitter and everything. But he told me there isn't one type of material that is light enough to be able to put in the kandura, in the
Kandura is the UAE national
attire. And I told them, but why would you want it light? He said, because the kandura's pocket keeps wobbling around if you're walking, and it annoys a lot of people. And they want a lightweight, rosary.
Interesting.
So they can carry it around easily and more often. And in addition, he said we can custom make the colors. We can use biodegradable material and all of that. And I ended it by telling him, you know what? Then your slogan should be mixing the future with tradition. And from there, they launched a company called Subha. You can see that we're following them on our Instagram. And their first shop is actually open in Dubai Mall.
That's so awesome.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
So they started from, a idea of 3D printing the beads, and now they're a big company that, produce upwards of 8 to 900 pieces a week, you know, like,
Wow.
which is insane. Yeah.
That is amazing. What
That's
an idea.
amazing.
And
That's amazing.
That is-
like you
On the other-
helped it come into fruition. That's amazing.
Exactly, yeah, and that's the thing. Before he came to us, he went to many companies. So, I mean, I can't disclose the prices that we give him and everything, but
Yeah, for
I
sure,
can
for sure.
I can tell you from where he was to where he came to us, we offered him about 700% less than what the other company was printing for him.
Wow, 700%. That's a huge chunk of money.
Yes,
Wow.
It's a
Yes,
massive gap.
100%.
Massive gap.
Absolutely,
Especially
yes.
here in this country where everything is expensive, that's a huge amount of
Exactly.
money that you
Exactly.
save the guy. Yeah.
And we designed for them different types of
Like
of
prototypes.
beads, different
Yeah.
types of So we helped them do the whole process basically.
That's amazing. So that's the most
And
unique
what-
one. But what is the most absurd one?
Because
Most
we have
absurd
people
one
in the
is,
comments saying,
Saram is
This
saying
elderly,
dildo.
I would say elderly lady in her, I would say 60s about.
Okay.
She walks in and she's like, "Hey, I have a file. Would you print it for me?" And I said, "Gladly. Can I have the file, please?" And I plugged it into my computer, and yet and to behold, it was a sculpture of a dragon in a weird shape that resembles a penis.
There
And I
you
was
go. So
telling her-
Saram in the comments, he predicted it. It was.
by the way,
dildo.
guys, my
No, no.
niece. By the way, guys, my niece is in
Yes.
the comments.
Yeah, sorry. My
And
answers
she
in the
was trying to
comments.
convince me that it's a sculpture. And I told her, "Ma'am, that is not a sculpture. And the material you requested specifically is not a sculpture material. And you know
Wow.
it, and I know it." She's like, "Then what's the problem?" I told her, "I'm sorry. Well, here we do prototyping. You know, we can't really produce it for you here in front of, you know, and as I told you, my office is, you know, 360.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
glass. Everyone can
And I'm
see it.
sure
Yeah.
people are going to notice it, you know.
Wow. So Saram just predicted it.
Yeah, it's always Saram. And by the way, guys, my Vix Crypto is my niece, and she's the mod here. So, you know,
Yeah.
so
We
we're
need to
trying
keep
to work with the new parameter in this sessions,
On
you know.
Twitch.
But anyway.
But yeah, that's crazy. That's
That's great. Exactly, from like polar opposite of
From
two
exactly
ideas.
from the most
like,
unique to most absurd. It's like
Yeah,
wow.
But funny enough, like let me tell you something, which is very strange as well. The sex toy industry has jumped 900% in production, not only because of the corona, you know, that a lot of people have been home and all of that. The main reason behind it is that they were so fast at prototyping, they can make molds initially overnight.
Wow.
From and that what accelerated the sex toy industry extremely fast. And this is one example of many examples. By the way, don't you see it recently that you've been seeing a lot of developments in drones and this, and a lot of people developing their own drones, and a lot of companies popping here up and there.
Yes.
All of that is thanks to 3D printing. So
Wow.
even one of the biggest companies in the world that creates drones, which is DJI, it's a Chinese-based company. They till today heavily depend on 3D printing to prototype.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and don't forget a lot of the companies now, big companies like automotive companies that are using 3D printing in their actual parts for the car. So they initially print in 3D metal. So recently, Porsche has announced basically they're 3D printing a cylinder package for their cars that is much lighter and it's porous, which initially gives it about 15 to 20% more increase in horsepower, and a lot of people would want that,
Wow.
And the funny part is, people were commenting, "Oh, but it's 3D printed. Is it going to be weak?" Structurally, it is 100 times stronger than forged or cast
Obviously.
parts.
Wow.
Obviously.
And yeah, it has the advantage of being so precise to the millimeter,
No, it's not about precision. No, even in 3D printing metal,
It's
we
about
still,
the-
for such a thing, we still have to do some kind of finishing.
Oh, okay.
But the core of it, if you want to think about it, the structure inside, we call it typographic. So typographic, I'll give you a small example. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, Miles.
Hi, Miles.
Yeah, Miles is. Yeah, so typographic is this type of structure. So
Wow.
it resembles a lot our bone, our bone structure, and it is known to be one of the strongest. You know, the good reasoning behind this. Why do we use topographic? The reason because we have a structure that doesn't require the material. You know, where, like, let's say you see this gaps here, that is not essential for the integrity of the load that we're putting on it. So this is generated by a computer, believe it or not. You know, so essentially this type of bracket can still hold as much weight as a full cast bracket. The advantage of it is it's lightweight. So now, instead of us, having load, if you want to think about it this way, instead of us having the load of 20, 30 kgs on these two nails, plus the weight of this that could be around, like, let's say 5 kgs. I'm just giving you figures, right?
Yeah.
And then the load on top. So technically, this can actually hold more weight than a full bracketed part, which is similar to this.
Basically,
so this is why
they look at like the quality, how can, how durable is
and the
like
design,
the
way
thing.
it is designed.
The heat, no, look, in a cylinder itself, I mean, that is a whole different, sorry.
Miles just being jacked off, like being crazy. He's the security dog, by the way, guys. Say hi to Miles.
We saw competition dog outside.
Yeah, he's a security, so he has to do his job,
Security, So as I was saying, if we were gonna even talk about cylinders and that type of stuff, that is a completely, world of discussion because
sorry to cut you off again. I mean, once you mentioned that it's penetrating the market of car industry and stuff like this, imagine if there was more people like Mo, that they actually gonna look at the creative and the adding to the technology and that whole to add to the to the pros of this whole concept.
Exactly.
It would actually be very useful in our daily life.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say, that imagine if this technology was more accessible the way Mo has designed that cafe, for example. This is like a very unique, entrepreneurial endeavor. But
thank you very much for the cheers.
Thank you, Leslie.
And Leslie is in the house, man.
Hi,
thank
Leslie,
you very
how
much
are
for the bits. That
Leslie has already met Mo. We were there in the cafe with him. So yeah, we're doing good, Leslie. How are you?
We're just catching up with Mo again, and
we were just talking about how this technology is not accessible anywhere. I mean, I've never seen a place that is so interactive that you can actually see the thing being made. You can go inside. You can, he's always welcome to show people around.
And dog
you can
friendly.
See the things,
and dog
yeah,
friendly.
exactly.
And coffee. By the way, we need to talk about the coffee. Yeah, don't
we need to talk about the coffee.
Yeah, one second. I
love
have just maybe a couple of questions that we can start on with the coffee side of it. But I mean, I have a question. What would you do more to make this accessible, other than like a cafe concept or something where they can come and do business with you? Like, for example, maybe like a library kind of, because this is what I was discussing last episode when we were talking about 3D printing. It's not accessible where, for example, a kid has a project like you said, or something like a library concept where you can just go give your design and get it done, but in a very affordable way.
Yeah. So what we're doing now is we're trying to work on a concept, if you want to think about it, an idea, and this is split into two. So one where it is directly linked with the household, which is the parent and the child. Okay, and this is, we're talking about beginners. Okay, because we do have university students that come to us and have some rough idea of what it is, and we tend to refine their skills and usage of the printers. This is a much easier thing. But if we want people to be more interactive and more developmental with the 3D printing process, we need to teach it at an earlier stage. And what I'm saying, earlier stage is like between 10 and 15 years old. That's where we can get their attention and say, okay, here you are. This is a technology where you can be producing your own thing. You can you can start thinking of how to create your own ideas and and bring them to life, right? So what we're doing now is we're trying to do a type of a competition with schools where we tend to say, okay, you guys, you can get all the information you want. You know, you can come here, you can do your prints, we can give you a special rate on printing and all of that. And then in the end of the year or end of the season or end of the competition, we don't really have the specifications still. We're working on it. But that's one way that we, you know, I thought that like, okay, we can do this to penetrate that, you know, and bring the message out to people, right? That is one. And number two, which is one of the, I think I love the idea, and I can't claim it's my idea 100%, but it's a partner of ours that's working with us very closely, and he's as well in the education sector. He's pushing for, you know, 3D development and 3D printing usage in the country. And what he came up and he said, hey, listen, can we create something where we can, you know, award a child for, you know, doing a specific task, and then they can, you know, print something. So from there, you know, we came up with the idea of, okay, so we will give them a 3D printer, which we call it a toy factory, if you want to say. Okay. Think about it that way. And then the parent would have this application that we developed, that where, you know, if the kid does his homework, you can give him 100 points. So you allocate the points for the kid. And what he can buy with those points is a library of pre-designed car models, car parts, maybe parts for the PlayStation or Nintendo or whatever it is, right? So he can curate, the father can curate or the mother can curate, you know, the items that the kid can buy with those, you know, points, right?
Yeah.
And that not only teaches the kid like all about 3D printing and that he can produce his own thing at home, it also, you know, introduces him to the concept of, you know, the value of money, the value of currency.
Exactly.
You know, because this is, again, a massive issue here. You know, it's a massive issue when you know, students come to me and there's this massive gap between, you know, one student or another, where one student comes and brings this great, amazing, you know, architectural model that he can present to his professor, and then, you know, a couple of students that don't really have that, you know, income to be able to print such a thing. I'm sorry, this is a big disadvantage. I mean, the professor himself would be biased about it, because he would sit there and think, oh, hey, wait a second, these kids went out and, you know, produced this amazing, you know, 3D printed model. For sure, they deserve more points. But the other ones made it out of, like, you know, traditional clay, you know, paper and plexiglass and whatever. You know, he's gonna think like, okay, you know, there you go, something like everyday use. And I've actually seen that. I've seen it like hands-on. I've known professors to do that. Yeah,
that's so cool.
That's crazy. And we got Flezer. Sorry if we're butchering your name.
Yeah, we just try.
Flezer is saying, "Tell my uncle I say hi" by Yusuf.
That is my nephew.
What's up? Thank you very much for dropping by.
That is my nephew. I actually gifted him a 3D printer for his birthday.
Oh my God, so lucky.
Do you want to be my uncle?
That is one of the,
do you want to be my uncle?
You know, ways to do so. So my sister, you know, I was telling her like, hey, listen, instead of us buying toys and stuff and whatever, like, why don't we give him a 3D printer, right? And he can produce whatever he wants. But I've not been the greatest with him because I've been super busy. So I should visit soon. Yeah.
And Vix is saying
the tiny security uniform on Miles. It's so cute.
Yeah.
What?
The tiny uniform. Security uniform on Miles.
Oh,
yeah.
He's quite a big. He's a medium-sized dog, but I make him look small.
Yeah, but he's fierce as well. Like, he's so protective of his territory. Oh my God.
For its size.
Yeah, exactly. He has a powerful personality, you know.
D is the sweet one.
Yeah, D is so chill and so calm. He's like, yo, what's up?
He's very chill.
It's a she. It's a.
No, it's a boy.
It's a
boy.
Oh, both of them are boys. Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
And they're both rescues. So for whoever is listening there,
that is awesome.
Rescue dogs, don't buy them. There's no point of buying
That's a very great message.
Exactly.
That's a very good message.
And if anyone wants help or advice on dogs, I am more than happy.
I
to
wish
give
I
them.
could get a dog, but our apartment is just like.
Yeah, and I
you know,
guess I
a
guess
dog
it's
is
just,
not for like indoors. They need
we
to
wanna
be
we
outdoors.
wanna dabble
It
into getting
depends,
cats. Yeah.
No, I mean not necessarily. I mean it depends on your lifestyle. I mean if you're not going to be home the whole time or you can't be with your dog of this, I would say don't really get a dog in an apartment.
Yeah.
In an apartment.
Yeah.
But if you live in a villa and you have a yard outside,
Exactly.
and, you
Exactly.
have, let's say a house attendant or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, get a dog and get a big size dog because those are the most difficult ones to adopt. You know, that would be great. I mean, thank God, I'm fortunate that wherever I go, I can take my pups with me.
Nice,
I mean,
man.
there's nothing better. There's not a better feeling than bringing your pet with you to work. Like I think.
Yep.
That is,
That is just
I say
awesome.
pet, but in reality, I treat them as children. You know.
Yeah. That's so adorable.
Okay, before jumping to the whole idea of Creative Brew DXP, that whole idea that you kept you had your 3D printing site already on full blast.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how the coffee came in the middle?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same question. I was like, how did you come about
That
bringing
goes-
two things together?
That comes really from addiction to coffee. So me and my family, like I don't know anyone in my family except one sister who does not drink coffee.
Oh.
And we're all surprised, like how does she not drink coffee? You know.
Wow.
But we consume a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
And we've grown up like and thankfully in a good household where everything was provided, everything was there for us. So we grew up in like acquiring tastes, if you want to think. So I had more time to invest and seeking out the best beans, the best tasting coffee, the best type of machines to brew these coffees and all of that. So from there, I developed my interest in coffee. In addition, why I mixed both of them, because, let's be honest, if you want to go out, if you want to go chill with your friends or whatever, you will go out to a coffee shop, you'll go out to somewhere and sit. What's so interesting about other coffee shops? Honestly, I've been to many coffee shops here. I can count a couple on my fingers that are worth going and sitting and that they have a different type of ambient.
Yeah.
You were talking about, I know you don't like, one of you doesn't like Moto for their coffee, at least.
Yeah, the coffee.
guy.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But still, Moto has a good vibe. They
exactly.
They mix music with
The
with
workshop,
coffee or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly. Like that's the
So
reason
the
that's the reason why I used to go and take my art there and listen to the music and
ambient is
everything,
amazing.
the ambience,
The ambient
everything.
is just like,
it was perfect for me to be in that mindset
It's
to
just
draw.
the
like,
coffee for me personally. It's too bitter. Like I would like dude,
But you see, that's the thing. Where the bitterness and all of that different type of tastes come in, it's basically really depending on the machine you use, on the coffee beans you use,
Exactly.
and on the barista themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is a very sensitive and tricky thing that we have in the region. Because a lot of people tell you, no, we want that bitterness. But bitterness, the problem with it really ruins the core taste of the coffee.
Yep.
But then again, they say, oh, but this is what we like, because they grew up on Turkish coffee and they grew up on Arabic, thick coffee, right?
Yeah.
So, but then again, we do have that, which is an emerging percentage of people saying, no, you know what? We want to taste really good coffee with the right amount of acidity, the right amount of bitterness, the right amount of, fruitiness or chocolate taste or like they want these type of different tastes. Like you remember I gave you and I explained to you about
we were just about to say that we were waiting for you to stop so that we can mention the cold brew.
The cold drip. So ours is a cold drip. So the cold brew is what you know.
He had that whole thing engineered. You forgot?
Oh, the glass thing. Okay.
Wait,
what is
so
that
the
called?
glass
I don't
tower,
know. He's
that's the
explaining
cold
it.
drip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the glass tower is a cold drip tower.
Oh, cold
and
drip
the cold
tower.
Drip is better known
Right.
in Europe as the Dutch brew.
Oh.
So the Dutch brew, that's literally how the Dutch first started brewing coffee. They didn't brew it hot because they wanted to extract the best flavors out of it, and they used to brew it cold. So that's where the cold brew comes from, which is basically immersed. So you grind the coffee beans and then you immerse the whole coffee in ice water.
Okay.
But that is not essentially the best way of extracting coffee. And the reasons behind that is you get a lot of particles there, you get a lot of sediment, you get kind of a all-around watered down taste, if you want to think about it. So like when someone orders as well, like an Americano, cold Americano. So essentially it's hot brewed espresso that we add ice to.
Ice to, exactly.
Yeah. If you want a light drink with light caffeine and you don't mind the taste being not that strong, then an iced Americano is perfect for you, right? But the difference with our cold drip is that basically we extract it drop by drop. So every 3 liters will take about 28 hours to brew. Okay. With that method, you're extracting the most amount of, a taste from the coffee. In addition, you're extracting a lot of caffeine, which is the biggest thing in this method, right?
Yeah. But that's also happening without burning the coffee bean, and the flavor is
so you don't boil
so immaculate. Yeah.
Exactly. So the thing is, and I was telling you as well about the why we have a house blend and why we don't sell it, right? It's not because we don't want to sell the beans. It's because if you don't have a machine that does the same extraction as ours, so essentially our coffee is calibrated and roasted to match our machines, basically. Which is around 9.2 bars and around 92 degrees to 93 degrees of heat, right? And that has to be very constant, all right? Yeah. So if we sell our beans to somebody else, they're going to come back and tell us, oh, but the bean is so, different and it doesn't taste the same and this and that. And it's very understandable.
Yeah, because the process.
You need that, you need the machine and you need the.
And I think you told us that it is so slow that you can only make a couple of like a quantity, like a set quantity a day.
From the cold brew.
Yeah, like I think.
From the cold brew, it's only 3 liters per 27 hours, 28 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
and then that's not where the process ends, because we still have to bottle it up. And then we have to store it for around a week.
So there's like a resting period.
Yeah, there's a resting period. It doesn't ferment because some people say, oh, but doesn't it go like alcoholic or ferment or go rotten? No, because coffee can develop bacteria in this only under light. Okay, and the next thing, if for something to ferment, you would need essentially, sugars, and there's no sugars, so it does not really ferment.
I just want to give a new shout out to our new follower, Flezer. Thank you very much for the follow, and the guys
saying,
are
don't thank me. Thank you for interviewing my uncle.
Woot woot! Thanks a lot for using the emote, and dude, we are here always. This platform is about the guests and for the guests, so all the red carpet is for your uncle Mo.
Especially a unique soul and a unique mind like Mo, who's making this accessible
very interesting,
to people,
like
including interesting facets from, like, for example, coffee, just like simple thing like coffee.
You remember my last question to him was like, don't get offended. Have anyone called you a madman?
that was after a 4-hour conversation about 3D printing, about coffee, about universe, about religion. God knows what we talked about that day.
Exactly.
That was
insane. Not a madman per se. The thing is, what I faced a lot is people that don't understand really or don't know about a specific topic or subject. They tend to, be fearful of a person. As I was explaining to you guys, what is like a lot of people come and say, "Hey man, you're the smartest person we've ever met." I said, but what are you basing it on? What am I smart at that you cannot be smart at? As I explained to you,
interesting.
You know music. I know engineering. I know material, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I keep telling him the same thing. Like, exactly. It's like it depends on.
But then again, is music any better than science, or is science any better than music? I don't think so. I think they're both equally as important. Art, science, and for us to function as a society, for us to function as humans, we require a lot of things. I get entertained through, developmental progress in technology and robotics and, and advancement of knowledge and all of that. As I told you, I cannot do that without the music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. If there was no music for me to listen to in the background or this and that, or literature, like I told you, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, If that wasn't there, I wouldn't think I would be as precision, as
precise
hardworking and precise in what I do, to tell you the truth. Because I get focused when I'm concentrated on what I'm doing in front of me, but I'm listening to music or an audiobook. And that is what I love. Funny enough, I have friends who are pilots, right? And I kept telling them about audiobooks and audibles, right? Which is a really good, like I gotta say, it's a really, really good platform. Quite expensive, sometimes.
Yep.
You can get free books. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a really good platform if you're into audiobooks. So I started telling my friends who are pilots about it. Some of them came back and told me, like they told me, I swear to God, you saved my career. I said, why? One of them told me, I've been flying for so fucking long. I cannot tolerate just sitting there looking in front of me, because there's regulations to putting, screens and whatever and watching something in the cockpit. So he told me, I put in one ear, I have my radio control headset, and in the other ear I have, the audiobook on. And he said that made my flights, my life, 100 times better.
Exactly. I actually agree with that because my job is like staring at a PC and like I'm proofreading things all day. So like majority of my job is reading and like checking dates and data and everything. So when you're doing that, it becomes monotonous. So I do the same. Like I listen to history podcasts and like something like interesting, or like that keeps your brain actually active. You're like your auditory senses, I guess, keeps you more awake and aware. I guess. But that's also helping you to focus. So I actually get what you mean,
Just one comment regarding the drinks. By the way, Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sam. How are you? I didn't know she was here.
Sam is one of our old school followers.
She is amazing. She's a teacher in Abu Dhabi, I guess. Abu Dhabi, no?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
I don't know. Where are you from, Sam? Did we discuss
She's from Sudan.
See, sorry, Sam. I have goldfish memory. Everyone knows that. So I don't. I think she's here. She's here.
Yeah, she's here. She commented, we have a drink in Sudan that it's made out of dates, and it has that same process of fermentation, and saying lots of accidents in Eid having entire families drunk.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's that again goes back to the sugar. You see, the sugar is actually what causes the fermentation of alcohol.
Right.
So if you don't have the sugars, then you would. But it's funny enough, she says that because one of the earliest forms of alcohol was made out of dates.
Dates and raisins.
Was made out of dates and raisins.
Yeah.
And by the way,
underground, man. They do it underground.
And to give you additional information, so in the wild, you would see a lot of animals drunk, and you tell me how are they drunk? So basically, sometimes when the fruit like apples, oranges, or pears or whatever fall and they rot on the floor for like a week or two, and they get fermented, and these animals and birds start eating them, and all of a sudden you see these animals just like wobbling all over the place, falling on their faces, absolutely drunk out of their heads. Yeah.
That even happened with cherries. Yeah, even with sorry to cut you off. That happens with cherries. That happens with pomegranate. If you take it and you leave it out, dude, within like a day, it will start to get that wine type of
that
smell.
Winey taste. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And that is the start of the fermentation process, basically.
That's interesting.
A lot of things that we do have, look, it depends on how much sugar is there and how long it's been fermenting for. That's what determines the alcohol level, basically. Yeah.
So how welcoming the idea of Creative Brew was to the first newcomers. Like for us, we found out about this place because my wife, she's a Phoenix, was she was into this whole 3D printing because she's an artist herself.
Yeah, and I actually discovered the page through someone's story who's actually related to him. So I was like, again, the family comes to the rescue, I guess. So I came to know from his story, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so interesting, and I've been following them since a long time. And since we started this show, I'm
Thank
like,
you very much for taking me there.
Yeah, we need. It blows your mind. You're not ready for the amount of art pieces and the amazing displays.
The frames behind us. You were saying is from the 16th
Remember you told us they are
century.
holographic?
No.
What was that?
From the 60s, not 16th century.
My bad.
No.
My bad.
Imagine the
From
cost
the
of those if
60s.
they were.
My
It was,
60s.
yeah, so it was from the 60s he's a Ukraine. Funny enough, he's one of the first people to understand the 3D concept in digital form. Because he used a method called stereolithography to basically photograph and fast scan objects, three-dimensional objects with lasers, and convert them into these three-dimensional sheets. So, and technically, it is not one sheet that is what you see.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of looks dark, and you have to shine a light at it.
Exactly.
The reason why it's actually multiple sheets behind each other, and each sheet has a type of a pixel, and that's what he converts by shining the laser back and forth into the object.
And I guess when we were looking at the frames from different angles, it moves almost like it looks holographic to me, It
is a holographic object. It is.
So, but that is so unique, and I didn't notice as like at first glance, you can't notice it. But when you described it and you were like, look at the frames. When I saw the detailing on that, I was so surprised and so fortunate. In my lifetime, I could exist amazing innovative art like that,
But then again, don't forget that was done by a Ukrainian in the 60s. That is the mind-blowing part.
Wow.
Like they were experimenting with lasers and things for other reasons, but then he said to himself, you know what, let me try doing this. Let me try photographing a object in 3 dimensions, and let's see what happens.
And Sam is asking, have you ever done some home experiments to make some alcoholic drinks?
No. Home experiments to do alcoholic drinks? No, not really.
Oh, the experiments that Mo was telling us about his childhood and his teenage, the stuff he's done. Wow.
I burned a couple of my rooms and places at various times, and if any of my family is watching, they would exactly know what I'm doing.
Exactly. And Bundlet is asking, is it a
lenticular frame?
He's talking about the frames.
The frames, lenticular.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
It's done with a method called stereolithography.
Oh, okay.
Lenticular.
I can see that there's comments, but I can't read them because they're blurry on my side. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because as I told you, you're getting the scene.
Yeah.
This is the new option that OBS gives to Zoom. So
exactly.
Yeah. But it's good, man. I mean, I hope you're enjoying this because this is we are trying to cater to as many people we can, and because for us we don't want to stick around with one topic.
Exactly.
We are both of us so into this different ideologies, and we like to learn and experiment.
Yeah. So
which one of the reasons we came to create a brew.
So when we get a guest, it's exactly how we were talking to you in the cafe that day. It's exactly like that. We'll ask you about everything. Like for example, my next question exactly on my list is, what is your type of what's your favorite type of coffee? Why did I struggle so much to say that? What's your favorite type of coffee?
For me, it's always been straight black. So the purest form of coffee brewed either hot or in cold form. And realistically, I don't tend to go out of that gap. A lot of people say, oh, but we like it with milk, we like it with sugar, we like it. You have various tastes, but for me, it has to be a good Arabica Indonesian coffee beans.
Arabica is
numerous, Americano, and that's it. Filtered coffee, I would drink. I mean, when I go to my family's place and whatever, they mostly have filtered coffee, so I would tend to drink filtered coffee over there. But generally here in the cafe, I always drink, a straight black Americano.
Well,
Nice.
there is a question from Sam. She's asking, can we do 3D printing at the cafe? Yes, and Fleisure here is already
He's
explaining
already
and
answering
marketing
for
it.
his uncle. He's like, yes, you can do, but you have to pay according to the size.
But
so,
it does-
yeah,
But it
but
doesn't come with coffee.
But Sam, if you visit Creative Brew, you
It's
have
beautiful.
to meet Mo and like sit and pick his brain. He's amazing at like making you explain everything, and he'll do it for free.
I was
for
just
every
about to
guest.
say this. To be honest with you, I've never seen any other owner actually sit down with a customer and explain this much.
Exactly.
Like, so informative, so detailed, dissecting it, because he knows that we will not understand it from the first go.
And I feel it gives him pleasure to enlighten minds,
think,
because I've
yeah, he
seen
does,
his like eyes beam up when
Yeah,
like he's
yeah.
trying to, like, if you ask him a question, he's like, God, this is my zone now. Let me
Even Les is saying he's very nice company.
Exactly.
It's like us, but
Yeah.
way more advanced,
Yeah.
like God
even,
level.
Even Leslie was saying, because we were all three having a conversation with Mo. When we were talking to him, he was telling things about stuff that we don't even have an idea or could even imagine, and
Like,
he was just blowing our mind constantly.
Even when Mo mentioned some things Leslie was relating to, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God,
Yeah.
you're into, you're
Yeah,
doing
because-
that, you're doing this.
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
Leslie is like, I've read about most of the things on the internet or like about technologies
Yep.
and stuff, but like on the surface, and Mo knows about in-depth like the stuff because of his research.
Yeah, Vix, Mo is an amazing person. She's saying, yep,
Yeah,
eventually owners.
As I told you, all you need is to research and know how to research. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I learned is, if you continuously research in different types of fields, even if it is for a short time of 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, that is more than enough to help you with what you're doing. Sometimes some people tell me, but why do you know in this field? Why do you know in that field? The reason why I invest some time in learning new things is because new ideas always comes from different disciplines. If you want to think about it in that manner. So let's say we are doing 3D printing, but then I think of a way that, in a way of how is someone in the pastry industry thinking, right? They want to put, the level of sugar and below the cake and fill it in with that. So what kind of device would help that? You see, from there you can innovate a new device to do that type
Exactly.
That's a very legit point.
of
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
So
you know?
basically troubleshooting with your thing and
Exactly.
finding other routes, which, by the way, Sam is asking,
Wait, do you
would
want me
there
to
be
scroll?
just a second.
Somewhere.
You know how to use it. No, you need to use this one. Go up. Question, sorry if it's been asked, can you just remove the thing? No, calm down. Still. Question: do we have to already know the knowledgeable?
Be knowledgeable.
Be
about
knowledgeable
the 3D.
about the 3D program being used, or we are trained at the cafe?
No, that's the thing. So you really have, you don't need to have any prior knowledge about 3D printing. Only what the concept is, obviously. You
Yeah.
know. So we would tend to teach you how to, use the program, the basics of that program, the basics. So basically, in pure form, is how to take a model that, let's say, you find online and how to 3D print it on your machine. That is basic knowledge that we give here. But then again, we do give in-depth if somebody asks for it. So we can even do custom profiles in the program to be automatic to what type of products they're producing, which we tend to do a lot for our customers.
Man, that's crazy because I really want to. We kind of already asked you this. What was the unique thing that you did and the most absurd one? But I want to know, did you had any failure tries, or you had to make multiple prototypes from your first design ever?
Of course. This is literally a daily struggle. A daily struggle. So
for every model. Wow.
Because don't forget, every object has more or less a different dimension, more or less a different geometry, more or less different infill, strength, textile strength. So we do need to sometimes prototype a simple version of it and then go ahead and do a bigger one. Now we're talking, but the type of stuff we're talking about here is more complicated stuff, right? So we would tend to do 3 or 4 different versions of it before we come to the conclusion that this is the best method to print this type of thing. Now, with me personally, when I do it, I'm less prone to failures because I went basically through a massive catalog of 3D printing throughout the years, and I can pre-predict, how an object would act with the printer or with that specific printer, because I'm working with them on daily basis. And as I told you, if you're working with something on daily basis, you tend to, pre-predict things way before, you function the way. It starts as early as me in the program, slicing it in a specific angle, specific positioning, putting a support. So I tend to, I'm one of those people that tends to print with the minimal required support structure. And support structure, as I explained to you, it is the structures where you need to fill something where something is floating in midair, if you want to think about it in that sense. So something like this, I would never print it standing up. I would print it standing flat, because there's a flat surface on the bottom that will help me, adhere to the bed itself. So this is the type of things what you have to think about when it comes to 3D printing and prototyping. But simple objects, no. Simple objects, I think anybody would be more or less easy for them to 3D print,
Okay.
But one more thing I would like to add to that.
Please.
When it comes to 3D printing, there's two types of disciplines. So there's people that create 3D objects, okay? And then there's specifically people that create 3D objects to be 3D printed. So when we're designing something, I tend to design it with 3D printing in mind. So I already have the knowledge of 3D printing and how, specific things can stand, lay on their sides, what type of angles I can go with, if I can modify this or that, and then design that structure to be compatible with 3D printing, which will make it in the long term easier to print and faster to print and more efficient and actually cost efficient.
Yeah. So I just want to read this amazing comment from Sam. She's saying it's a beautiful concept combining two things you love together, coffee and 3D, because why the fuck not? Do you plan to add any more things to the place or
and she's
to the
asking
concept?
adding VR.
Like VR or something?
We are, yes, actually we are. So the more we try to, if you want to think about Creative Brew as what it is now, it's in its very early stages and it's still a test pilot to what we want to do. Right?
Wow.
So
Okay.
what we found out here, like in this Creative Brew, I don't know if you guys noticed this, is that we have a big community of motorbikers that come to this place.
Exactly.
There's an
And the
amazing
reason,
Honda
I keep
there.
interacting with them and asking them, like, what's the reason that they told us it's just as simple as you're catering to us for something that we don't usually get in the country. Where we feel like when we walk into the place, we feel right at home. We don't feel like we're walking into a commercial place. We see the owner, we sit with them, we're talking to them, we're interacting, we're doing all our things, the things we love. And I myself is a motorcycle enthusiast.
Exactly. There is an amazing Honda in the place, yeah. The death machine, is it the death machine?
Death machine.
Yeah, it is so badass. Oh my god.
Not the best bikes, but one of a kind.
By the way,
that
that bike actually reminds me, because you mentioned about, actually I wanted to ask you also about bioprinting, and have you ever used it? Because you told me a story, so I wanted to...
Yeah, so technically bioprinting is absolutely exactly the same as 3D printing. So let me just grab this prop that I have here. We use this for teaching, right?
Okay.
So basically, if you want to think about it, this is essentially what a nozzle of a 3D printer looks like.
Okay.
And this is where the material comes from. And this is, where we insert the material, right?
Wow.
So if you want to think about this in a manner where instead of pumping plastic through, we're pumping, biomaterial.
Okay.
So it could be cells, and how they build those cells is basically in gelatin. Okay. So this was the earliest form of 3D printing, bio 3D printing. But obviously we came a very long way from what that is. So today what we tend to do is we tend to 3D print with biodissolvable material, inner scaffolding. So imagine this is the walls, the veins and the walls of a let's say a liver or a heart or a valve or whatever it is, right? Okay. And then what we tend to do is this scaffolding is the type of a material that cells grow on.
Oh.
You get it?
Yeah.
So what we do is we remove the scaffolding and we put it in a vat where this biomaterial, biomass starts accumulating on this. And once this has accumulated, what we tend to do is dissolve this structure inside. And this structure will act as the veins and the inner structure of whatever we're trying to create. So this is the modern way of doing bioprinting. And it is definitely being used right now in the medical field.
That's amazing, man. I just want to give a new welcome to Vishal. Thank you very much for dropping
Hi,
by.
Vishal.
What's
How
up,
are
man?
you?
You're good. And Sam is asking what you want to leave as your legacy. And by the way, and like completing to that comment, she's saying a man talking about his passion is quite sexy.
That's actually true.
Well, my legacy-wise, I this is a thing that a lot of people, I tend to avoid this question a lot, to tell you the truth. Because a lot of people ask me, what do you think is your goals are, or what do you want to achieve, or what do you think you want to do? I don't like answering it, and for a very simple reason, because my answer would be, I really do not know.
Exactly, because
And
you're
they
still
get
in the way of
and they
making
get
it.
terrified because they think, it's either terrified or they feel very good about themselves. Because they think, oh, well, wait a second. You achieved so much. You did this, you did that. And by all means, I do appreciate what I achieved so far in either, the 3D technology or, doing the cafe, creating a incubator for people to come and try to research their products and ideas, but the thing is, I don't feel like I have achieved anything yet. And I know it's crazy when you think about it, but don't forget, this is how I feel about it. That has nothing to do with what somebody else could be feeling.
Exactly. I mean,
they see it from the outside, I see it from the inside, if you want to think about it.
It's like any other musician. We always know something is wrong or like something needs to be more perfected. So I'm sure he's still like...
So it has to do with perfecting something.
Yeah.
And that is the main problem with it.
I wanted to ask you, since you've done like tons of research about different things and products or industries or technologies, which is the most favorite thing you researched on or created like a study on or something that you were like, wow, I love this. See, it makes you think.
This makes me really think, because as I told you, I like research as in general. So I've dabbled in psychology. Obviously, I've done physics. I've done material science.
Wow.
I've done all of these different type of disciplines. But I would think one of the most things I think that I'm in the process of actually continuously researching it is linking, so basically what we call, the new cyborg, if you want to think about it, like, mixing machine with biology.
Wow.
It is not mechanical biology, but it is more of the understanding of how can a specific machine help us with our existing biology. Like now, like I've just recently been studying on a company that has changed the whole understanding and concept of an artificial heart. So previously, an artificial heart would have been a type of a valve pump that pushes blood in and out of the circulatory system. The one that they have created right now is actually a full metal encasement, which looks like a turbine, and it is continuously pumping blood through the system. But some people argued like, okay, well, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be a heartbeat. That's true. There's not going to be a heartbeat, but there's going to be a super efficient machine that can pump blood fast enough through your system, all right, that you can run for hours without exhaustion. So imagine that.
Man, it's just crazy.
But that's where, again, our bridging of, like think about it these days, prosthetics, like, hand prosthetics, arm leg prosthetics have become, so technologically advanced.
Exactly, yeah.
There has been known cases of people amputating themselves to get those prosthetics. And this is what we are saying, like where is our, cutoff line of where we say, is technology going to be something that we, openly go and rush and change? We can argue with that with a big trend that's been going on, which is basically what they call them, for the teeth. I'm forgetting.
Like dentures?
Not dentures, the capping. The smile.
Veneers.
Veneers. Yeah. So you see, veneers. This is what we're talking about. So our veneers are not natural. So, but you see this trend so much going out there that people are going and damaging their teeth purposely, although they wouldn't have any dental problems, they wouldn't have any gaps or
crazy.
This, and they would still damage their teeth. So essentially, the new type of veneers, they have to carve out the tooth completely and then install it.
Yeah, exactly.
And people are damaging their teeth because of that.
Wow.
And, this is the question. If a heart is going to be available, that's going to make you way outperform someone else. Wouldn't you go out and get it? Like you see what I'm getting at. And where is our cutoff point?
I guess they're becoming like objects of novelty, I guess.
It's becoming trendy. It's becoming trendy as well.
The funny part, that as soon as we reach like levels where prosthetics have become very efficient, at the same time we have reached levels where arm and leg transplants are actually being done, and they are functional. You can research about these things. They're I mean, let's say in India now they've had over 700 cases where it's absolutely successful, and arm movements have come back to regular movement, even the shape, even with a bit of surgery and things. They've brought back the arm.
Yeah, he was saying that they.
Well, actually, you want to attend to the comments, or you want to?
No, the comments they're just like Sam is asking how to do the stickers and
so I want to actually ask, because I remember asking you about your fingers, because when I met you, so I asked you that.
Are you going that personal?
Can you tell the story when you come on the podcast?
So that's the problem with it. I mean, in short. If it wasn't for
what a badass, first of all. Okay.
really,
that's the
I've had an accident in the past where I had to go and get my tendons replaced, the bone and all of that, because it started failing on me. So basically, if it wasn't for all this 3D scanning, 3D technology and all of that, essentially I would have lost my thumb. But thankfully, because of that, and this was, don't keep in mind, this was back in 2006 or 7, I can't remember. Like this was a while back, way before like we've even entered the technology of CT scanning proper objects into the details where we can see every thread and tendon going across the thumb, Yeah. So that's essentially that. That's so shortened version.
And even Bundle It is saying, Creative Brew, you should start a company called Skynet, making bionic cyborgs and stuff.
Basically making Terminator come alive.
But you know what? I was about to, this is actually a good segue to ask you this. It just came up to my mind, and we talked about it, but you said you turned it down. I have two questions. Are you going to end up teaching these things at a university or something? Or are you going to end up in the bio section of this whole department?
No. So, sorry, but these are two different. So, what do you mean with the bio and the?
Sorry, not the bio. Like, if are you gonna go in the whole medical section of 3D printing?
No, essentially, no. Okay, when it comes to,
I'm asking you, like, where do you think you're gonna end up in the, like, in the future? Are you gonna end up teaching it, or are you gonna end up producing it yourself?
Most probably, I would say, my passion is looking towards. Enhancing it first, if it has to do with any field of 3D printing. And secondly, I would say yes, and actually the academic side of 3D printing. And the main reason why I tell you this, because right now I'm compiling if you want to think about it, a course that could be sold to universities, where it is called additive manufacturing. So it is something, that goes in depth, where what is 3D printing, how I can use it, and how I can apply it to everyday life. You know, today the problem with universities and schools and this, yes, they are teaching 3D printing, right? But what they're teaching is basically, here's a 3D printer and it does objects and load the object on the machine. So they technically don't teach them anything outside the box. You get what I mean? Which is very sad, because schools are trying to implement that, but then again, we think about it, that there isn't much companies that do this type of stuff. You know? And this is where I'm really focusing with a partner of mine. We are heavily investing and focusing on the educational sector and 3D printing.
And I remember you faced a hurdle by you. I think you were saying that you wanted to donate printers to India, and they said no, but you have to pay tax. But you remember?
Exactly. So
like there's so many hurdles.
So one of our post clients and partners at the same time, I would say. So basically what they're doing is they're purchasing 3D printers from us, and they're purchasing online courses. So online courses is basically someone, you know, like it's going to be me teaching them, you know, the basics of what 3D printing is and how to, start your machine and troubleshoot the machine. So very simple, webinars, if you want to think about it. Okay, but the problem is that we've been facing is that there's a lot of countries that the client wants to send the 3D printers to, like the schools and stuff, that have a lot of restrictions on 3D printers. And funny enough, the restrictions come because the governmental sector that is handling the ban or regulating the 3D printing industry doesn't really understand it. Because somebody once in the past, when 3D printing was just coming up and emerging, you know, in the public, said, "Oh, you can print weapons." No, you can't print weapons. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't, you can't just print a full-sized gun and think that you can use it. It does not work that way. It is true you can print specific components of it, but you can't print, like, for example, ammunition. You can't print ammunition. Ammunition is still, a gunpowder plus accelerant plus a metal casing plus a metal jacket. It's not just as simple as, I have a 3D printer, then I can print the weapon. No, it doesn't work that way.
And Sam was saying it would be a great opportunity if he can come down to their school and just teach about these things. I mean, that's a good thing.
Of course, that's this is then again, this is one of my aims for basically the season that's coming up, where I'm gonna hopefully this whole Corona issue is we're done and over with it, and life can somehow get back to a new normal, as they say. Maybe then we can invest more time in going down to schools, universities, and explaining to them, hey, listen, we're willing to give you free of charge, our courses, learn them, teach them to your students. But we are the people that your students also can come back to us for help. I mean, obviously there's an economical gain as well from it, because at the end of the day, it's a type of business as well. But if I am benefiting people, why not?
So I was saying, damn, I was about to buy a 3D printer and make katanas.
Oh man, we got Knox in the house.
Hi Knox, how are you? He's also another.
He's a good friend of mine. From the community.
Supporter,
amazing supporter. A lot of help from these guys. And DJ Zach rated the channel.
Stream. How are you?
Zach, what's up?
Basically, DJ has bought us, he's a fellow streamer, he's bought us a lot of more viewers from his stream.
So it means he brings his own people, his own viewership.
Hi DJ, how are you?
How's everyone?
Thank you for the raid.
Community is always good.
Exactly. Thank you for the raid.
This is one of the things that I was telling you about our cafe as well. That we tend to work a lot with small businesses. Because we like to support them. So all our pastries, all our coffee, the people who import our coffee for us, the people who basically roast the coffee for us, all of them are basically startup businesses and small businesses.
I just want to read a comment of a friend of ours,
this is what
Knox.
He does. He changed the position. Usually I sit on his side and he sits here because he's closer to the mouse. Now he's struggling to reach out to the mouse.
But it's okay. I can, wait. Can you stop touching my thing? I'm trying to find the thing.
Touching what? I'm not touching anything.
You kept on hitting my hand.
What? I'm here.
Guys, wait. Where is Nox's comment?
Oh my god, he commented that far up ahead?
No, wait, I just can't find it. This thing, it sucks. Okay, Tech Journ here, I relate with Mo so much because the amount of access to 3D printers, printers
Struggling.
needs to be bigger considering. Screw this thing. It's guys, stop commenting. I need to read that comment.
So if you guys come on Thursday, this is actually why we call our sessions absolute shenanigans, because this is us,
This is what happens.
Yeah, this is what happens. This is
Okay, where is it? I'm missing it out. Can you help me out? Where is it?
John, one second.
Wait. Okay. Tech Journ here. I relate with the Mo so much because of the amount of access to 3D printers needs to be bigger considering the investment done here.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the government is taking initiative to widen the 3D printing community and support and all of that, but definitely we could be doing much better. We could definitely be doing much better. I mean, recently they just Sheikh Mohammed launched an initiative to 3D print houses.
Wow.
Yeah, I was about to bring that.
They want the city to be able to be 30%, printable housing by 2030.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is achievable, definitely. But that's the thing. Again, we go back to, do we have enough people to help in that? We have, like, I have a project coming along the pipeline, but the problem is the amount of people that are knowledgeable in this field are very few, that I am finding it very difficult to be able to say, you know what, guys, I'll commit to this project, let's do it, So, but I mean, hopefully soon, with 2020 coming up, the exhibition and all of that, maybe we get new companies coming in, new technologies coming in that could help us out with this, with this whole, process of developing 3D printing in the country, And the beautiful thing about 3D printing, you really don't need foreign factories and whatnot to develop your own 3D printer. You could literally, as I told you, build your own 3D printer for 200 dirhams in your home. All you need is a program, a bit of metal pieces to put the frame together, a hot end, and 2 motors, essentially.
What is your next model that you're trying to print out? Which
now
you're really like spending your time.
That I'm really pumped. You're gonna laugh about that.
Wow.
King Shark.
Huh?
What is
King
it?
Shark from Suicide
King
Squad.
Shark. Oh.
That would be
is
amazing.
badass.
I got the model and everything, and I'm dividing it up to start printing.
By the way, Mo, sorry, Mo, I don't want
Wow.
you, sorry if I'm making you get up. Can you get the Darth Vader or the Batman, please?
The Batman or the Darth Vader. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
guys, they have.
It is so
insane.
cool. So cool.
So detailed.
Hi, Miles. Hi,
Hello, guys. Say hi to Miles.
Last place, I'm gonna bring food for him. So
Oh,
here's the Darth Vader model.
Oh, wow. See?
Yeah.
dude, it's freaking great.
I mean, the camera does not do justice to the
Yeah.
detailing, first of all. It doesn't do justice at all. It's so cool.
Dude, bullet.
Again, we print it in. You see, you can print it in 2 parts.
Okay.
So it can be assembled together.
Assembled.
Nice,
So we
Okay.
nice.
print it in 2 parts because if somebody wants to paint it or whatnot.
Okay.
Mo, one of our followers, Bullet, is saying, "Can we just come and play with the doggos?"
Absolutely, we do have that happening here quite often. Actually, now there's people playing with Miles across the door. Yeah, here comes
Man,
Miles.
I love that Darth Vader. While the machine was running, doing the all the chess things,
Yeah.
and I turned to it like, "Is that Darth Vader?"
Yeah.
Dude, it was so cool. I mean, that's the thing. It gives you that possibility of imagining and, once you have the knowledge,
Yeah.
how to put the thing together.
Yeah.
I mean, is that whole creativity concept behind it.
Exactly. Like,
is
for
just
example,
so life-changing.
yeah,
you
like
know?
for example, Bundlehead, who's in the conversation, had said in our previous episode when we were discussing 3D printing that he would love to make souvenirs, and I said memorabilia. So like,
Yeah.
all these things that come from ground zero in the imagination of the person can come alive by this technology, and that's just so precious. Maybe someone lost something or an hereditary object or something like that. It's just awesome that you can, or make all
Absolutely.
Yeah, bring that to life,
As I was telling you guys, even in the field of art. So, like, let's say we have one of our clients. She's a very talented Saudi artist. She does this 3D type of modeling on her computer, right? But she cannot sculpt. She cannot do any of those things because her type of work really requires this imaginary, structures, right? And for the longest time, she has had it on, just like frames and whatnot, and on her page and stuff. So I communicated with her about 3 years ago, and I asked her, "Hey, listen, how about you 3D print your models, using this technology?"
Yeah.
And when she saw that and she thought about it, she was mind blown.
Wow.
Now this goes back to what I'm saying about even, you're saying, would I print trinkets or this or that? When she said, so let's say we produce her, vase, like we say about 25 by 20 height. Let's say it costs her for us to print it around 200 dirhams. She actually sells it for 600-700 dirhams, and you tell me, oh, but it costs that much to 3D print. Yeah, you're not buying the 3D print; you're buying the art.
Yeah,
get it?
Exactly.
So the value, you don't stop at the value of how much this cost me.
Exactly.
You can actually, it's the same with me. If you want to buy the line art dogs,
yes,
I sell them as art. I don't sell them as 3D prints.
Wow.
That's actually true, because you gave me that example, because you said that because I showed him my page and he's like, imagine like I was telling him I wanted these designs as 3D printed designs for, like, for example, on walls or someone's cabinet or somewhere,
you have the other dog faces,
that's what he was
the hanging ones.
Yeah, those are on the walls. We have them in the cafe. Absolutely, yes.
Just a second. We got raided by Ian Horror, the vocalist of Recoil and Horror, the band. Ian, thank you very much. What's up, man? Thank you for dropping by, man. Thank you for the raid, man.
Thank you. We are talking here with Mo, who's the entrepreneur and the founder of 3D printing cafe here called Creative Brew, and it's a pet-friendly place because Ian has cats, I think.
Yeah, Ian has cats and dogs.
And I think they're like dog. MJ, his
wife. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
like I think. To be honest with you, I don't know.
They're like house sitting.
Yeah, house sitting. Exactly. Yeah. So he's a vocalist. He been on the show, and it was a great freaking session that we had with Ian. Ian, again, thank you very much for dropping by and the raid, bro.
Thank you.
It means the world to us.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, and thanks a lot for the follows and all the raids and all these things.
That's
it means
amazing.
the world to us. And Mo, so where were we at?
He was talking about those dogs you were asking.
Yeah. The ones that you hang.
The line arts,
the line arts. I was telling her design with this
line art,
this would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because most of my art is black ink anyways, so like imagine that as like coming alive on like a piece or something. And that, like what you said, you try to make me explain, it's not how much you're charging me for making it, it's how much we're gonna price it as your effort to make that design.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with paintings. How much does a artist pay for the paint?
Yeah.
And how much does he sell his portraits for?
Exactly.
Right? So he's charging you for the art. He's not charging you for the material. So people have to think about 3D printing in the same manner, basically. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing when it comes, as he mentioned earlier in the session, when it goes in the wrong hands. As the manufacturer, for example, they were just selling the printers just with the manual and just go for it, figure it out.
Exactly.
But,
yeah, they don't inspire you to do things with it, Yeah.
Fawaz is in the house.
We
What's
have
up,
another
Fawaz?
vocalist here. He's the vocalist of Creative Waste, a band in Saudi Arabia, which is grindcore. So I don't know how they make it there, but I'm so surprised that.
I just want to explain something to Sam. Sam, raid, it means, as Bundle it explained it. For example, now at the end of this show, I'm gonna be taking all my viewers and go to another channel and raid that channel.
Yeah. So it's like taking your followers onto another stream. Yeah.
But
By the way, hi Fawaz, how are you doing?
yeah,
How's
thanks a lot for
everything?
dropping by. I mean, sorry Mo to cut you off. We usually do this
Yeah.
thing with the
because,
community.
because we're
you
a
know.
very chat heavy stream. I mean, because you're so much like you're giving us so much information, we're actually like talking to you more today. Normally we're just like answering their questions and just
Yeah.
interacting with them, so we're a very chat heavy stream. But today
but-
we are like engrossed in like the knowledge just you're bombarding our brains with.
Okay, getting back to the topic, Mo, where do you see this future going? Like heavily.
Okay, so in regards to 3D printing in general, like additive manufacturing, definitely we are in the next industrial revolution. So a lot of people try to tell me that, oh, this is like the computer revolution. And no, that was a digital, revolution, right? It brought us the technology of computers, processing, AI, all of those things. Now, with the help of that, we got the next industrial revolution. So we had the steam era, we had the machine era. Now we're basically at the additive manufacturing era. Because I'll just give you a small example. When 3D printers started, the cheapest machine you could buy on the market was around 15,000. All right,
Yeah.
and the kg of material can cost you anywhere between 600 to 800 dirhams. Today, the same type of material, which is even better and available in hundreds of colors, all right, is around anywhere from 100 to 130 dirhams. And one of the best machines you could buy, could cost you around 3,000 dirhams. All right, you get what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So where do we see this in the future? Definitely, this is a technology that you will come across extremely often and more often as the years progress. What I mean by that, not necessarily you would know that this technology is right in front of you, but it definitely helped the next generation of products. It helped the next generation of prototyping. It helped the next generation of ideas. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is ideas that you can develop out of this technology. It doesn't stagnate as, people think of it as now as, oh, we can just print models and gimmicks and this. Absolutely not. Because if you know where you can implement these ideas and where I can, a simple bracket can make or break a whole machine.
Yeah.
You think about it, right? And sometimes these type of machines can't adapt because they can only find this size of bracket. They can't find something that exactly is tailor-made for them. But with 3D printing, they can definitely access this new development in their parts.
So Sam is asking a question, and that's a very awesome question. She's asking, what got you into 3D printing and what caught your eye?
Sorry?
What got you into 3D printing and like what caught your eye about it? Like,
honestly, I look, 3D printing, I've always known about it, even through my early studies. We've known about it, we've seen it in the university, we've come across it, we've interacted with it. But what really brought my attention to it is, as I told you, when I had my accident, we had this whole technology being implemented to help my thumb to get back into normal, to normalcy.
Exactly.
And that's really where I saw the technology, and I was like, I was sitting in the doctor's office consulting, and he was like showing me this model and things like that. And I'm like, mind blown. I'm like, you know what? This is what we can do with this technology. And even then, don't forget, it was really in its infancy stages where companies started developing because they knew that the patent will expire eventually, so they wanted to be market ready by the time 2010 came into fruition, and that's absolutely what happened. So you have places like companies like MakerBot, like Creality, like all these big companies that created these household desktop machines that could be affordable. Well, it wasn't that affordable back then, but now absolutely affordable. And I mean, from there, I just, kept developing, kept, researching about it, kept building my own thing, kept building my own technology, on hardware, on software, until we developed it into this thing that is today, what we know as 3D printing and the understanding of 3D.
Mo, I have a question. So, since I have read your thesis and like it's very informative, even though I've read the, I guess, dumbed down version.
You read the watered down version.
Yeah, dumbed down version,
The
exactly.
watered down version.
And that was so interesting for me. So I can imagine those 500 or more. I don't know how many
700.
papers you've written, how many sources of material are there out there of your research. Is there like a point of time where you will be like, you know what? Now I want to publish all of this for the general public to read and for kids to learn in schools or something.
It is out and published actually. It is
Really?
out and published.
But I guess it's not accessible.
Well, I can provide you with links later on.
For
You can
sure,
go
for
and find
sure.
a couple of the works there.
We should
But
have
in
done
general,
that before.
I didn't know that he had a book published.
Even I
But
didn't.
it's not a book; it's a thesis. It's just a paper.
Even that, I didn't know.
I didn't know that
It's
it was.
it's different papers on different ideas to do with 3D
Okay, okay.
Wow.
So
Wow.
anywhere from material development
Mm-hmm.
to recycling to reusability to material coloring,
Mm-hmm.
basically. I wrote a book, not a book, as I told you, a short paper about how can we, color 3D printing filament before it's printed, which
Exactly.
didn't really work out that great, but at least there was something, it was
Some
seed
experiment
of
happened.
information. Exactly. So you seed something, and from there, where people go ahead and start developing different ideas about it. Like the paper you read.
Yeah.
Basically, I've noticed that a lot of people have taken that same paper, taken the information, and actually enhanced it. The beautiful thing about it, why the paper you have is basically it would be a better version of what I did. And
Okay.
this goes back to, again, what I I was a very strong supporter of this, which is open source. I'm a big supporter of open source. Open source means a community of people coming in and just, contributing to a singular idea.
Yes, exactly.
So this is what, on GitHub you'll find these papers I'm talking about, right?
Oh, okay,
And you will
okay.
see how many sub papers have been created of that paper that I've originally
Wow.
done.
Wow, that's insane.
Man.
That is the beautiful thing about it. And this goes even to codes. This goes into methods. It goes into material. It goes to all of these different disciplines to
Yeah.
do with 3D.
I guess that
And this is-
your research and your studies will also give birth to new innovations in
Exactly,
the same.
and this is what we need.
Yeah.
You see, the thing is, if we stayed, let's assume we lived in a world where patents did not expire.
Mm-hmm.
What would make a company continue developing a technology that they're the sole owners of it?
Exactly.
Monopoly.
Get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look,
Monopoly, yeah.
by the way, today's simplest 3D printer, keep this in mind, right? Today's simplest 3D printer is 100 times better than Stratus's last printer before their patent expired.
Wow.
Just keep that in mind. And this goes across the board. We don't look at like battery technology, okay? It's not because we don't have good ideas and we can't develop ideas and we can't enhance on these ideas. The problem is we don't have access to these, methods, right? In the field of batteries and chargers and so basically in the field of storing energy,
Yeah.
okay? We don't have access to the full technology because of one thing. Philips owns the patent. End of story. Philips owns the patent. And this is why every Tesla, by the way, do you know every Tesla bank, like battery bank, is made out of small cells, and these small cells are made out of 1805 or 07 batteries that looks like AA batteries.
So it's just rechargeable batteries. That's it.
It's basically rechargeable battery. That's what I'm saying. Electrical storage technology. We don't have a lot of access to it because 6 or 7 companies hold these patents and they're holding with their teeth and legs.
Very,
and
very
everything.
secluded markets.
So
That's exactly what it is. The only reason Stratus lost their patents is because they were failing as a company. They were already started to fail as a company, you know, and they couldn't hold their patents anymore. And they couldn't find corporate ways and you know, under the table ways to continuously hold on to these patents.
That's actually a good segue. Sam asked, like, what is the downfall
What is the downfall of 3D
printing?
printing? Like, in
What is the downfall?
yeah.
In which like in what sense?
What sense? Okay.
Like,
so
I
Sam,
think in
elaborate
like,
then.
you know, in general sense, is there any downfalls with this whole thing?
Well, the downfall could be that we reach a stage where, you know, 3D printing could reach a level where everybody starts manufacturing at home, okay? And very, very, very few people own that, you know, files online that can allow you to buy these products. Like what we're seeing, like one of the biggest problems I see today that a lot of people are not pointing out on, which I'm very like mind blown about, right? Is Amazon. Amazon is basically like grabbing the market and saying, I'm the godfather of all retailers.
Exactly.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
What is the problem with that? The problem with that is that the control will always be on one person. So there's one person that's always going to say, I am the one who makes or breaks this company. Not their product, not their achievements, not their technology, but me. You know, and that is my biggest problem. Like Amazon, I never buy shit from Amazon. I would rather walk to the store or go traditionally or go to an online store that is owned by a smaller company and purchase from them any day.
So Sam, is specifying she wanted in the sense of environmental downfall.
Actually, it's going to have quite the opposite effect. And I'll explain to you why. Because a lot of people say, oh, but you're still producing in plastic. That's very true. Our problem is not producing in plastic. Our problem is the emissions that require products flying overseas, if you think about it. So today, Boeing, in conjunction with a lot of their you know, allies like Emirates Airlines, Etihad, all of these big Qantas and all of these, what they're doing is they're trying to create a catalog of parts that can be 3D printed. And the reasoning behind it is, imagine you have to continuously stock up on these parts and fly them from one factory to the other, and you know, using the road, using taxis, using different resources until that part is installed in the aircraft, right? And mostly what we're talking about 3D printed aircraft parts, we're talking about cabin type parts.
that's
so nothing flight essential. If you want to put that.
Because that's the most used one.
Exactly. So let me explain something to you. Imagine I have a model aircraft, okay, and I wanted this wheel. Okay. Imagine I did not have 3D printing. So this is the process that this wheel has to go through. It has to start its life at a factory, where obviously we know factories in China or wherever it is produce a lot of emissions, correct? That has to produce this and then has to package it.
Exactly.
So now we have even the packaging.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then this packaging has to go into a courier. This courier has to drive to the loading area of this, either being by sea or by aircraft. Right? And then this has to fly all the way to here. And from there, you know, it has to go back to a courier, goes back to the holding cell, and then goes all the way back to me until I receive this part. Imagine I could only go online and buy the file and print it.
That is
how much emission did I save?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can't look at it from the perspective of is it better for the environment or not? Like there's a big argument about Tesla as well. If you think about it, right? They say, well, producing a Tesla causes this much emission. So the gas that is basically being emitted from the car in its lifetime is not going to equate to the production of the car itself. That is quite not true, because now Tesla is employing a lot of technologies where, you know, it's much more environmentally friendly. They have a machine called the Giga injection mold machine, which is a gigantic machine that actually injects molten metal to create this one-piece chassis. Can you imagine that? And there's only 3 machines of that around the world. You know,
that's insane.
So now they eliminated all the different parts that's required. They eliminated a lot of the, different processes they have to go through and all of that. So technically, through it is not the most environmentally friendliest way that they have to produce the cars with, but at least in the lifetime of the car would not be producing as much as emissions as manufacturing. So that's, again, this we can say that, it is environmentally friendly.
It is environment friendly, and man, it's great to know all this information. And before we move on, I want to say a huge thank you to Sam for subscribing.
Thank you so much, Sam.
For a month. Thank you very much. It means the world to us. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you.
We are really so humbled by the
support
we're getting all this time, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you very much.
Even MJ was saying in the comments, like, this is the best
MJ,
show.
welcome. Sorry, I didn't have the chat because I didn't want to cut off Mo while he was talking.
When Mo is talking, we're like, which who do we attend to?
I mean, even though Mo is about to close the shop, you're closing the shop in half an hour, so we need to close out. So we're gonna close it out. So Mo, man, I hope you enjoyed this session because it was like a very teaching type of.
Exactly, we learned so much, and
very.
we literally busted some myths here because the amount of bullshit that's there on the internet, and it's baffling that there is no proper research or information available for the people looking for 3D printing procedure, materials, all these kind of details, and you've actually given us more than we could ever learn from any article or book.
Very
literally, we would love to bring you back also in future sometime again on the show. Maybe this time we can talk about the universe and the parallel universes and the string
that's one of my
theory
favorite
and all that.
subjects.
Just a second. Just a moment, Mo. We have a problem with this connector now.
Is it okay?
Can you hear us? Can you talk, Mo?
Yes, I can hear you.
I mean, this won't be our show unless we have a technical difficulty.
Exactly.
It's like it's
okay, we got you back.
We're
can
back.
you talk?
We're back on the sound.
Yeah, I can hear you, Claude.
Yeah, we could hear you. I mean, you couldn't hear.
Yeah, so I was saying that maybe we can bring Mo back for talking about the universe and parallel universe and the string theory and everything we were discussing. I really couldn't believe that I sat in Creative Brew talking to you till 11 p.m. in the night, and it is such an honor to know a soul like you in my life.
Even Bullet is saying, and I'll see Mo on Friday for some coffee and dogu love. So we're gonna, dude, believe me, guys, believe me, go down there. You will not regret this.
Yeah,
it's one of a kind place.
Yeah,
very welcoming and very cozy, super cozy, and the coffee is top notch.
It's bomb.
If you're a coffee lover, it's top notch. It's also animal friendly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to bring in your like crocodile or something, but
believe it or not, we have goldfish. We had a gecko, we had an iguana.
Oh, gecko!
We had a snake a couple of days ago. So we do get all sorts of animals and things down here.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Guys, for sure, go down there. Creative Brew in Uptown Murdiff, Dubai. Very cool place. The coffee way better than anywhere else you had. I am guaranteeing that.
Sam is saying, open one up for us in Allen, please. Oh, so she's in Allen. Now I get it.
Hopefully, as we said, this is a pilot trial, if you want to think about it in this way. We will fix everything that we need to be fixing here, our methods, our efficiency in this, and definitely we will be popping up, in different locations throughout, the next coming couple of years, for sure, 100%.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, Mo, thank you very much for coming on the session, and it was a blast talking to you. And
to be honest, Mo is a person that you can sit and have a conversation for a whole day and it won't be enough, and he literally will give you all that time to sit and talk to you. Like, he's such a humble soul, and the amount of knowledge he has and the way he will give you, he doesn't have any kind of sorry to say the words, but like egoistic behavior or any like pride or anything. He's such a down-to-earth, humble soul, and I'm really glad that there are people like you existing in this world who want to make technologies accessible and teaching and just like giving that knowledge to people who are hungry for it, So thank you so much.
And your nephew is saying, please tell my uncle I'm saying bye. Dude,
tell him I'll visit them soon. Yeah.
I'm sure he can hear you. He's gonna visit you soon. So again, man, thank you very much for all this information. I mean, as I said, no one actually wastes their time to talk to someone and you're actually giving some of the key points about the business away as well, in a way. But
absolutely, I would not mind that, because we do lack a lot of, small businesses here, and I do want to support anybody. And as I told you, I stand on my word. Anybody who wants to open a 3D printing company over here, I am willing to help them 100%.
So
100%.
That is so awesome.
Absolutely.
See,
and I don't see this as a competition. I see this as better knowledge being brought out to the public. At the end of the day, I know I can, create something that is interesting for a lot of people. And this is why we're doing all these pilot, ideas, sessions. Even this interaction between me and you guys, this is a very key point. It builds up confidence in people that, hey, listen, it is not that this person is not going to give us any information or tell us this or tell us that. No, we're here to give good information. We're here for you to learn something new.
Exactly. And
I'm willing to always learn something new. I am sure you should be able to do that as well.
Because we had the same experience with Mo when we entered. I mean, when he came to the table, and I mean, I told him, please join us on the table. To be honest with you, I thought you were going to give us whatever. But then he joined on the table, and I'm like,
no,
wow,
and not just join. He talked about so many things: his childhood memories, his accidents,
and the coffee brew, the cold brew was just beautiful.
Like the process. Man. He's giving us the business secrets so openly, and he's like, you know what? Come, guys, sit. I'm having a conversation.
Mo, there is no way we can thank you for this session. Seriously. It was so informative, and we learned a lot from you.
I appreciate me
Thank you so
having me on your show, and please keep doing this.
Thank you for
whatever
sure.
help, whatever information you need. If you want more interesting people, I'll send someone your way.
Sure, please. If there are any more entrepreneurs, who are, just like yourself, we would love to, we like to pick the person's mind and also get to know them, So it's like, I want to make people aware of the local, like in the Middle East or in UAE, Dubai itself. Like there's so much
to put spotlight on these things,
so like in different fields. So if you know someone, please recommend them. We would definitely, and we would love to bring you back on the show as well, please.
Thank you very much, guys, and I would love to be back on the show.
For sure.
Thank you.
Sometime soon.
Yes, definitely.
So you guys can find Mo at Creative Brew DXP. Their location is at Uptown Murdoch, Dubai. Give them the follow on IG at Creative Brew DXP, and give us a follow on at Combos and Chill on IG and Facebook to be up to date with the news that we're going to be releasing. Soon. We have more guests coming over.
Exactly.
And again, thank you very much, Mo. But I'm just trying to choose a person to rate, so I'm gonna be choosing.
Before you go, guys, we also have our Absolute Shenanigans show on Thursday, which is again 9 p.m. The same time, and we're gonna just be chilling, talking about whatever gibberish you want to talk about. Just come chill. We've had a difficult week, difficult day. Just like we can be your therapist.
So we're gonna be rating Rocket Lemore. He's playing Biomutant. So you guys, if you like to see a gamer streaming, so stick around. And again, thank you very much, Mo, for joining us. And we're gonna see you soon. We're coming down to the cafe, so I really want to try that AeroPress again.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I and Bullet can come on the same time.
Please, Bullet, join us.
Yeah, just let us know when you're coming, and we'll drop by.
Again, thank you very much, Mo, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Bye. See ya.